Chapter 562. I'm going to try and see if I can undo the knot in his heart, and then think of other ways to focus his attention. Once a person loses the desire to live, it must be because there's nothing in this world that he can't bear to leave. I have to find something that he can't bear to leave before that happens. Huamin confidently discussed her idea with Qin Chu, the medical doctor. It's easy to say, but hard to put into practice. Mion, patients with depression always have a lock in their heart, and it won't be easily opened by others. This might be a difficult case to solve, but since you want to take it, I'll help you. Thank you, honey. Huamin thought that Qin Chu would persuade her to give up on this patient. She didn't expect him to be 100% supportive, and her mood instantly improved. Then, she naughtily took a piece of sachima, took half of it, and gave the rest to Qin Chu. This is delicious, but it's too sweet. For your health, I have to help you finish half of it. Qin Chu took the sachima with a smile and quietly ate it. He didn't mind that it was Huamin's leftovers at all. How old is this patient? Qin Chu casually asked as he ate. Huamin froze for a second, because she really didn't know how old Yang was. His agent seemed to hate this, and didn't even write it in his medical records. What's wrong? Qin Chu asked when he saw that Huamin was slightly stunned. I don't know how old he is. Because he's an actor, it's a bit confidential. Should I call Dr. Li and ask? Huamin was about to make the call. However, Qin Chu said, no need. Then, Qin Chu turned on his phone and looked up Yang on Baidu. The year 1992 was written on it. This meant that he was 25 years old this year. Even if it was fake, the difference wouldn't be too big. The patient is between 25 to 30 years old. He's still young, so there's still a chance for him to be cured. You did the right thing. Stop his medication first and restore his normal thinking. However, his condition is quite serious now. If you stop the medication abruptly, it will be dangerous. So, I suggest hypnosis. Hypnosis? Huamin was slightly startled. That's right. You'd better ask your hospital to find an outstanding psychologist to hypnotize him. First, find out what the shadow in his heart is, and then solve the knot in his heart through hypnosis. After that, when he's not so anxious, you can proceed to the second step, which is to find a reason for him to live. It's a good idea, but I don't know if the person involved will accept it. After all, it involves privacy. Celebrities are all very concerned about this. You can talk to him about this. I believe that with your persuasiveness, he will definitely agree. Qin Chu was very confident in Huamin. Huamin smiled and walked to Qin Chu's side. She placed her small hand in his broad palm. Thank you, Mr. Qin, for your advice. I have no words to express my gratitude. If you really want to thank me, why don't you do something more practical? Qin Chu's lips curled up. For example? Huamin looked at him and asked. The night is still young. Dr. Hua, do you want to do something? Qin Chu said as he pulled Huamin into his arms. Then, his hands began to wander around. This is the office, it'll be bad if someone comes in. I just want to kiss my wife, what's so bad about that? Qin Chu didn't think much of it. I see. Huamin was scared for nothing. She thought that Mr. Qin was going to do it with her in the office. What did you think? Qin Chu smiled wickedly. I didn't think anything of it. Huamin blushed and denied it. If it's nothing, why are you blushing? Qin Chu asked mischievously. Before Huamin could finish, Qin Chu's slightly cold lips captured hers. Then, they melted into a passionate kiss. Chapter 563. After a while, Qin Chu finally let go of Huamin. Huamin, on the other hand, thought what they did was too bold. If someone came in and saw them, it would be so embarrassing. Shouldn't they do this at home? Seeing Huamin's blushing face, Qin Chu's lips curved up slightly. Honey, I'll leave you to work, I'm going to go now. So soon. Huamin was reluctant to leave. You're still working, I can't stay here and disturb you. As Qin Chu spoke, he stood up with a smile on his face. Huamin quietly followed behind him, her small hand held in his big hand. Qin Chu didn't tell Huamin about the photos that were secretly taken, Nor did he ask her, because he trusted his wife 100%. The people who took the photos had ulterior motives. They wanted nothing more than to ruin their relationship. He thought of a few people. The first one was that his mother directed and acted in a show, and she hired someone to take the photos herself. The second one was that psycho Hua Xiqian. He might have started to make a move, so he hired someone to take the photos and send them to his mother in an attempt to cause internal strife in the Qin family. The third one was Su Yu. Qin Chu already knew how he felt about Hua Min, but he didn't do anything about it. This wasn't the style of the young master of the Su family, so the possibility of Su Yu being the culprit was very high. When the two arrived at the entrance of the hospital, Su Yu happened to come out as well. When he saw Hua Min, his eyes lit up, but when he saw Qin Chu, they instantly dimmed. What a coincidence, President Su. Qin Chu never shied away from greeting Su Yu, and he knew that when it came to Hua Min, he would never lose to Su Yu. He believed in his 10-year relationship with Hua Min. Yeah, what a coincidence. Su Yu also greeted him with a cold smile. This was the first time the two of them met in private after parting ways on Gamble God, but they didn't expect it to be at the hospital. Qin Chu smiled slightly and turned around. Honey, you can drop me off here, you should go back to work. Okay. Hua Min nodded obediently. Qin Chu's plan was to possess Hua Min and kiss Su, but he didn't. Because he didn't want to, he didn't, because he didn't want to play such a childish trick. He didn't need to tell everyone that he loved Hua Min, he just needed to keep it to himself. Qin Chu then walked out of the hospital, and Su Yu followed him. It seemed like he was going to leave as well. You came to the hospital to spy on Hua Min. Check on her. You don't trust Hua Min? Su Yu asked with a smile. Wrong, if I didn't trust her, I would have just told her to quit her job and stay at home. She wouldn't have to come to the hospital every day and work the night shift, so put away your useless guesses. Qin Chu laughed. You seem to have a lot of confidence in yourself. You think Hua Min won't have a change of heart, right? You don't have to say that. Do you think she's a fickle person? Qin Chu asked back. That's not it, I just feel like I lost a chance. If you didn't show up first, she would have been mine. Of course, you showed up earlier than me, so there's nothing I can do about it. So, I think if you quit one day, she'll still be mine. I'll never quit, never. Haha, don't say that too soon. You never know which will come first, tomorrow or an accident, so, don't be too sure about some things. What if it comes true in the future? Su Yu continued to laugh. President Su, you seem to have a lot of free time these days. Qin Chu looked at Su Yu meaningfully. So, what do you plan to do? Do you want to fight me? Su Yu took out a lollipop out of nowhere and put it in his mouth, looking at Qin Chu provocatively. Chapter 564. Qin Chu looked at him and said, word for word, although I know my Mion doesn't like you, I still hate it when you show up at Southside so often. I think you have too much time on your hands. But it's okay, I'm sure you'll be very busy starting tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a good day. Then, Qin Chu smiled mysteriously, got into his Maybach, and left. His driving skills were good. Su Yu really wanted to chase after Qin Chu and race him, but now wasn't the time. Plus, Qin Chu's car wasn't a sports car, and he was driving one. That wasn't fair, he didn't like to bully others. Plus, Qin Chu was right, Hua Min didn't care about him at all. He already warned him that they weren't even friends, and everything was just one-sided love. So, under these circumstances, so what if he won against Qin Chu? Tomorrow, haha, is something going to happen? Then let's do it. If I dare to say anything cowardly, I'll write my name in too. After talking to himself, Su Yu got into his sports car and left the hospital. This was his last night at Southside, because Tang Chuan would be discharged after dawn, so he had no reason to stay here any longer. He could use his injury as an excuse to recuperate, but he didn't think those excuses were meaningful. They were meaningless. If you liked someone, you had to show them your sincerity and let them see your sincerity. Instead of pestering her shamelessly, that wasn't Mr. Su's style either. After Qin Chu left Southside, he didn't go home. Without Hua Min at home, the house was empty, so there was no point in him going back. Instead, he went back to GK headquarters. When Assistant Yang received the call from his boss, he almost thought it was a scammer. If he didn't open his eyes in a daze and see that it was indeed his boss, he would have cursed. So, his boss called him at 2 a.m, asking him to go to the company. Was he crazy? After Assistant Yang arrived, he found out that he wasn't the only one at the emergency meeting. Many higher-ups were there as well. Chin Chu was wearing a dark grey shirt. He held a thick stack of documents in his hands and remained silent. None of the executives dared to make a sound because they knew their boss's weird temper too well. In the end, little Yang couldn't help but ask, "Boss, you called us here because you have an urgent project to finish, right?" Chin Chu slowly put down the documents in his hands, looked around, and said, "Starting tomorrow, GK will officially enter the entertainment industry." As soon as he said this, everyone was extremely shocked. Before anyone could react, Chin Chu added, "The first task is to poach all the big-name celebrities from Imperial Star Entertainment, the more the merrier. Money isn't a problem. In a week, I'll hold the launch ceremony for GK Film and Television, and I hope those celebrities can walk the red carpet. You guys aren't newbies anymore, so you should all be capable. I'll set the tasks in stone, and you guys can do it yourselves. Of course, it's going to be very difficult this time, but I'll give you a huge bonus based on your efficiency. If you get an A-list celebrity, you'll get 5 million yuan. End of meeting." Chin Chu quickly finished the meeting. After he finished talking about the main points, he turned around and left. The executives were all left dumbfounded. The boss said he was going to start a film and television company. His first task was to poach stars from Imperial Star. The time limit was 1 week. If he poached an A-list star, he would get 5 million, but he didn't want a B-list one. Crack. Is this boss really going crazy? Assistant Yang, this is too sudden. Did you know about it beforehand? The executives all knew that Assistant Yang was Chin Chu's assistant. Therefore, they wanted to ask him some questions. Assistant Yang was also confused. In the end, he only said, "Our boss has always been this capricious, haha." Assistant Yang knew a little about the entertainment company, but he didn't expect it to be implemented so soon. Although the bonus was a lot, it wasn't that easy to poach stars from Imperial Star. The next morning, Su Yu was still sleeping soundly in his mansion when he received a call from Wei Liao. "What's up?" Su Yu asked drowsily. "Don't sleep. Did you see the news?" "No, what's wrong?" Su Yu asked vaguely. GK announced their entry into the entertainment industry this morning, and they even said that they'll hold the red carpet ceremony in a week. Is Chin Chu trying to go against you? After hearing this, Su Yu slowly opened his eyes, and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Chapter 565. That's a good thing. I finally have a rival. Su Yu's voice contained a hint of excitement. Fuck, are you crazy? How is that a good thing? Do you know that people outside are obviously trying to steal your man and steal your woman? I heard that Chin Chu plans to hold the red carpet launch ceremony for his new company in a week. A week? They only have a week. How much are they looking down on you? Can you still stay calm? Get the fuck out of bed and go to work. I think Imperial Star is going to be in a mess. TSK, the eunuch is more worried than the emperor. Just stop talking nonsense, haha. Fuck you, you're the eunuch. Wei Liao had a lot of anger towards Su Yu over the phone early in the morning. Although Su Yu was indeed very capable and had many tricks up his sleeve, Su Yu was also very powerful. The Su family was very powerful, but so was GK, okay? If their star was really taken away in a week, then what could a company that relied on entertainment rely on without their star? Would Su Yu eat dirt? Would people laugh at him? The answer was, of course not. Su Yu got out of bed slowly and chose a very low-key pure white jacket. Compared to Chin Chu's business attire, Su Yu was more casual. Then, he drove his black Lamborghini Sixth Element to Imperial Star. That morning, the radio, TV, and newspapers all reported the same thing. GK announced that it was entering the entertainment industry and was expected to become the biggest entertainment company in the country within a year. After this news was released, GK's stock market skyrocketed and rose by 7 to 8 points. Meanwhile, Imperial Star's stock market fell to its lowest point in history and didn't even break 30 yuan. It wasn't even as valuable as some tobacco and alcohol companies. Imperial Star Entertainment headquarters. Sir, have you seen the news? Sir, how should we deal with this? Sir, are you President Qin, the man who offended GK? As soon as Su Yu entered his office, a few executives surrounded him and bombarded him with questions. He waved his hand and dismissed them all. Sir, there's a morning meeting in 5 minutes, assistant and reminded him. Tell them to cancel it. We won't open it. All right. After and spread the news, everyone became even more anxious. Was President Su going to give up on himself? They didn't even want to hold the morning meeting. Weren't they going to think of a way to deal with it? GK had publicly challenged them. 5 minutes later, boss, there are many media outlets and reporters at the entrance of the company. Are we going to hold a press conference? Press conference? Are you going to host it? Su Yu raised his head and asked, and was at a loss for words. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'll be leaving from the back door in a while. Su Yu stood up and left. Xiaoan had followed Su Yu for many years, so he was not surprised by his boss's nonsensical way of doing things. Therefore, he silently followed behind. As soon as he stepped out of the door, Su Yu saw the company's newcomer, Mion, walking over. Recently, she had taken on a few domestic drama series. It was said that her popularity had soared and she had earned a lot of money for the company. President Su, what's up? Su Yu looked at Mion's silicone face and was a bit impatient. President Su, don't worry. You brought me up single-handedly. I won't be ungrateful. Even if GK offers me 10 times the price, I won't leave. I will always be on your side and support you unconditionally. Upon hearing Mion's words, Su Yu chuckled. Was she here to show her loyalty? The girl was smart enough to know how to take advantage of the situation. It's okay. If GK offers you more, then you can all leave. I don't mind. Mion was instantly dumbfounded. After speaking, Su Yu walked away. He swaggered towards the breakfast shop, completely ignoring the news that was all over the place. GK headquarters. What's Imperial Star's reaction? What's Su Yu's reaction? Qin Chu sat in his office and asked Yang as he read the news online. Chapter 566. Sir, there's been no news from Imperial Star. At least he can keep his cool. Qin Chu chuckled. This was good, because it showed that Su Yu was a worthy opponent, not someone who would lose his cool at the slightest provocation. Sir, what's our next step? Assistant Yang still couldn't figure out why GK suddenly wanted to enter the entertainment industry. GK had always had a lot of momentum, and if they joined the entertainment industry, they would definitely cause a storm. After all, they had a lot of money. Su Yu, on the other hand, was unhurried. He wasn't worried about himself at all. He ate his breakfast and avoided the paparazzi. In a Hong Kong-style restaurant across from Imperial Star Entertainment, Su Yu and his assistant quietly ate shrimp dumplings, crab roe buns, and enjoyed their morning tea. Sir, do you have any plans for GK's sudden entry into the entertainment industry? N, who was usually quiet, asked. No, Su Yu answered without hesitation. And, Southside Recuperation Center. Huamin got off work, and on her way home, she was overwhelmed by the overwhelming news. To be honest, she was quite surprised that GK suddenly entered the entertainment industry. After all, Qin Chu never told her about it. Entering the entertainment industry meant that GK would have to confront Su Yu head-on, which made Huamin a little worried. Su Yu was sometimes very childish, and he always did things that were beyond common sense. However, Qin Chu had always been low-key and calm, so why would he mess around with him? Did the two men talk about something that she didn't know about? On the way home, Huamin kept thinking about this question. After she got home, she ate a simple meal and went to bed to catch up on sleep. She slept all the way until noon. A call from Zhu Lingling woke her up at around 12 o'clock. Then, the two agreed to meet for lunch. They went to a Korean restaurant on Qingmang Road. When Huamin walked in, Zhu Lingling had already ordered a table full of food. Big sister, are you crazy? You're not on a diet anymore? He remembered that on his WeChat moments, Zhu Lingling talked about losing weight every day. She even swore that she would either lose weight or die. Reality proved that she didn't lose weight and was still alive and well. So, it could be seen how unreliable she was. If I'm not full, how can I have the strength to lose weight? Zhu Lingling answered logically. Huamin was truly speechless. Let me tell you, there are two kinds of people that you can't be friends with the most. One is the person who wakes up from his bed in the early morning of winter, and the other is the person who really loses weight when he says he wants to lose weight, Zhu Lingling said slowly after taking a small bite of sushi. Warrior, why do you say that? Huamin looked at her with amusement. Because the experts said that these two kinds of people are too cruel. If they can be cruel to themselves, they might be even crueler to their friends. Ahem. So you're saying that people like you who say they want to lose weight but can't lose weight are more suitable to be friends with because they're soft-hearted? Huamin asked. Zhu Lingling smiled slightly. That's right. Okay, since you're such a good friend, today's meal is on you. Fuck, you're a super rich woman, how can you cheat a commoner like me? Zhu Lingling yelled. The two began to eat while chatting and laughing. Time spent with Zhu Lingling was never monotonous, even though Huamin only had one friend to this day. However, she was already very satisfied. She didn't need a lot of friends, as long as they were good friends. They could be with you when you were sad, share with you when you were happy, give you positive energy and encouragement when you were lost, and give you sincere blessings when you were happy. That was enough. Oh right, did you see the news? Something big happened. As she spoke, Zhu Lingling mysteriously took out her phone, opened the front page of the local news, and showed it to Huamin. Chapter 567. Huamin calmly glanced at her and nodded. I know. Does your husband know that you're having an affair with Su Yu? Is that why you want to teach him a lesson? Upon hearing Zhu Lingling's question, Huamin almost spat out the soup in his mouth. When did I have an affair with Su Yu? Sis, if you're so good at making things up, why don't you become a paparazzi? It's such a waste to be a stewardess. What I mean is, even a blind person can tell that Su Yu is interested in you. Did you piss off Mr. Qin? Huamin nodded silently. Yes, Mr. Qin was pissed off. Otherwise, with his arrogant personality, he wouldn't enter the entertainment industry for no reason. I'm guessing it's because of the bet he made with you on the yacht. If I were your husband, I wouldn't be able to stay calm either. Su Yu is like that. He's like a child most of the time. He's very direct and shows all his emotions on his face. That's why he's a bit reckless. You'll get used to it. Hey, it sounds like you know him quite well. Let me tell you, you can't fall in love with Su Yu. Although the Su Yu family is rich and powerful, and Su Yu is very handsome, Mr. Qin has been infatuated with you for years. You can't have a change of heart, Zhu Lingling tried to persuade him. Huamin looked at her, amused. Don't worry. Even if the world were to collapse, I wouldn't break up with Mr. Qin. Then I'm relieved, haha. You haven't been dating a cop lately? Huamin glanced at Zhu Lingling and asked. No, definitely not. I know you don't want to tell me. Gao Ran often eats with Mr. Qin and tells him everything. That stupid car driver. Zhu Lingling gritted her teeth and said. If you can develop it, then develop it as soon as possible. Don't let others intercept you when the time comes. No way. Who would fall in love with him? His mouth is so wicked. He doesn't give in to women at all. He often quarrels with me. At the mention of Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling said one thing but meant another. She scolded him a lot. Huamin smiled but didn't say anything. After dinner, the two of them left in separate cars. When Huamin got home, he thought it was still early, so he drove straight to GK. GK headquarters, a young lady. Yang greeted her obediently. Is he inside? Yes, it's here. You can go straight in. Huamin nodded, then walked to the CEO's office and knocked on the door. Come in. Qin Chu's deep and magnetic voice came from inside. As soon as he looked up and saw Huamin, Qin Chu's eyes immediately softened. He stood up, walked over, and held Huamin's hand. Why are you here? Don't you have a night shift today? Why aren't you sleeping at home? I slept in the morning and ate lunch with Lingling. I'm not sleepy anymore, so I thought I'd come to see you since there's still some time before work. Chin Chu pulled Huamin over to sit on the leather sofa. Huamin took out the snacks he bought on the way here and placed them on the coffee table. Honey, here's your afternoon tea. Good girl. Chin Chu patted her head, his eyes filled with uncontrollable happiness. Honey, I want to talk to you about something. Go ahead. Promise me first, then I'll tell you. Huamin, are you copying me? Huamin smiled as he looked at Chin Chu, thinking that he was especially cute right now. Huamin did learn the act first and report later tactic from Huamin, but it worked really well. If you don't agree, then I won't tell you. Okay, then don't tell me. Huamin purposely tried to piss him off. Chin Chu immediately looked wronged. Honey, you can't bully me like this. Every time you use this tactic on me, it always works. Ha, I'm just teasing you. Just tell me. Huamin rested his head on Chin Chu's lap and lay down on the sofa. Chapter 568. After Jixin graduates, I want to invite him to help me at GK, Chin Chu said as he gently stroked Huamin's hair. About that. Lin Fan's eyes widened. I told him in private, but he's afraid that you won't agree, so I decided to discuss it with you first and see what you think. It's great that he can help you. GK is a big corporation with a lot of potential, and he can use his abilities. It's just that. I'm worried. What are you worried about? Chin Chu asked when he saw that Huamin was hesitant to speak. I'm worried that people will gossip about him, saying that he got to where he is through nepotism. If rumors spread, it won't be good for you or him. You don't have to worry about that. Jixin is like my little brother, and we're family. Who can say no to a family business? Jixin and I are concerned about your attitude. If you agree, I'll let him come. If you don't, I won't interfere with Jixin's future. Let's wait and see. He's still a while away from graduation, and I don't know what will happen then. Maybe GK will go bankrupt, and you'll have to rely on me to support you. Okay, then I'll wait for that day. Chin Chu smiled slightly, leaned down, and gently kissed the corner of Huamin's lips. It was as if he wanted to pour all of his gentleness onto her. After a while in the office, Huamin looked at the time and got up to leave. Honey, I'll drive you. It's okay, I'll drive myself. You go back to work. Like I said, rest well. Yes, sir. Huamin smiled as he left the office. He didn't ask about GK's entry into the entertainment industry at all. This was within Chin Chu's expectations. First of all, Huamin wasn't a gossipy person. Secondly, this was GK's business, and Huamin never interfered with GK's business. The two of them supported each other's careers, but gave each other absolute freedom. This was the highest realm of loving someone deeply. Loving you, but not interfering with you too much. Mutual respect, mutual understanding. When Huamin arrived at Southside, he was called to Director Li's office. Huamin, how's that thing going? The plan is almost complete. Please take a look. Huamin handed over a thick folder of documents. Director Li took it and flipped through it for a while. Finally, he nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. As expected of someone I value. His ideas are bold and innovative enough to break the traditional treatment plan. It's worth looking forward to. Director, there's a drawback to this. No one has used it before, so I'm worried that he won't be able to take it. If the treatment fails and he collapses, his condition will worsen. At this point, Huamin didn't continue. However, what she wanted to say was obvious. Don't worry, I've already considered all these risks. If we don't have a reasonable treatment plan, his condition will still worsen. If we stick our neck out, we'll still be stabbed. If we stick our neck out, we'll still be stabbed. If we stick our neck out like this, we won't be able to solve the problem. I support your innovation, so just do it. Thank you, Director Li. I'll do my best. When Huamin left the office, he picked up his phone and called Gao Ran. Is she here yet? Yes, I called her. She'll be here soon, Gao Ran replied. Thank you, you've helped me a lot this time. If you want to thank me, Then ask your Mr. Chin to treat me to a luxurious meal, Gao Ran laughed. No problem, we'll meet another day. Huamin hung up the phone with a smile. She wasn't confident about Ni Yang's treatment. After all, depression was a terrifying disease. If it was cured, then everyone would be happy. If it wasn't cured, then it was a matter of life and death. Head nurse, she's here. Huamin was just about to go downstairs when a nurse from the neurology department ran over to Huamin. Okay, I'll be right there. The person Jiao Ran found for her this time had a powerful background. She didn't want to disappoint her. Chapter 569. Then, Huamin headed towards a VIP lounge on the top floor. This was a new lounge at Southside, and it wasn't officially opened yet. Huamin temporarily converted this place into a hypnosis room, and this time, the person he made an appointment with was a famous psychologist in the city, Jiang Xiaowei. Apparently, she had a PhD from overseas and didn't open her own studio after she returned to China. Instead, she was specially hired by the Ministry of Public Security to perform hypnosis on specific suspects and witnesses. Not long ago, she published an academic paper that won the approval of top experts in the country. Jiang Xiaowei was also an extraordinary person. She was born into a scholarly family, and her parents were both university professors. She was extremely talented. Apparently, her parents wanted her to take finance as an elective because she was especially sensitive to numbers. However, at a critical moment, she ignored everyone's objections and changed her major to psychology. Needless to say, she was extremely brave. Jiang Xiaowei wasn't an easy person to invite, and she rarely interacted with others. The only reason they were able to invite her this time was because of Gao Ran, the captain of the criminal police force. At 7:30 p.m. sharp, Jiang Xiaowei appeared in the hypnosis room on the top floor. Just as Huamin expected, she was petite and dainty, with 2 small canine teeth. She loved to smile, had long, slightly curly hair, and wore a dark blue dress. She was very intellectual and elegant. Huamin, hello, I'm Jiang Xiaowei, she elegantly introduced herself. Thank you for coming. Huamin shook her hand. This is the patient's information, please keep it confidential after you read it. Huamin handed over Ni Yang's medical record. Jiang Xiaowei was very calm after reading it. Okay, I can give it a try first. When will he arrive? Jiang Xiaowei had just finished asking this question. The door to the hypnosis room was pushed open. This time, Ni Yang was alone without his agent. I'm not late, can we start now? Ni Yang asked faintly. Jiang Xiaowei nodded at Huamin. Then, Ni Yang sat on the hypnosis chair while Huamin adjusted the lights and music for Jiang Xiaowei. She then took out an ancient pocket watch and dangled it in front of Ni Yang's eyes. The pocket watch ticked. Ni Yang's eyes began to glaze over. Very good. Look at it and listen to its voice. Jiang Xiaowei's voice was filled with a magical power that had never been there before. What did you see? Flowers, lots of flowers, pink flowers. What flower is that? Peach blossom or cherry blossom? Cherry blossoms, a lot of cherry blossoms. Ni Yang replied calmly. There's someone standing at the end of the cherry blossoms. Take a look. Who is she? I can't see clearly, don't be anxious. Walk over slowly. She's standing right there. You'll be able to see her once you pass through the cherry blossom rain. She's. Ni Yang was about to say who the person was. Suddenly, Ni Yang became agitated. Go away, I never want to see you again. Why did you choose him? Why not me? Why not me? As he spoke, Ni Yang held his head in pain, as if he was extremely nervous. Huamin also became nervous. She slowly walked over and asked in a low voice, Dr. Jiang, what happened? He failed. There's a hidden pain in his heart that no one knows about. This pain is related to the person in the depths of his memory. It seems like it's been a long time and can't be solved immediately. Let him go back and rest. We'll talk about it next time. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei stood up, picked up her bag, and turned to leave. It was hard to imagine that Jiang Xiaowei, who was such an amiable and approachable woman, could be so heartless at work. After Jiang Xiaowei left, Ni Young woke up from the hypnosis. His face was pale, as if what he just experienced was a nightmare. Did you fail? Ni Young asked in a hoarse voice. It's okay, we can try again next time. Don't worry. Ni Young bit his lip and didn't say anything. Have you been under a lot of pressure lately? Yeah, there's a lot to deal with when signing with a new company. The contract isn't ready yet, and we're still negotiating the terms. A lot of people are envious of how glamorous we are, but we're the ones who are the most miserable. We have to work like machines every day and lose the joy of being human. If you were given another chance, would you still choose this path? Huimin slowly asked. Ni Young was a little surprised. He raised his head and looked into Huimin's clear eyes, a little confused and a little touched. Chapter 570. I guess so. Sometimes, you can't just walk the path you want. God won't be so kind as to give you the chance to choose. Sometimes, you have no other choice but to work hard. Ni Young said dispiritedly. Actually, you don't have to live such a tiring life. There's a Buddhist saying that goes, with a thought of peace, lotus flowers bloom everywhere. As long as your mind is peaceful, lotus flowers will bloom everywhere. Ni Young repeated this sentence. You can think about it when you have time. Some things shouldn't be thought too deeply, or else you'll be tired. I think the rules of life should be simple and straightforward. For example, if you're tired, sleep. If you're hungry, eat. If you like something, then love. That way, you'll feel better. Ni Young seemed to be touched by what he heard, and his long eyelashes fluttered. Under the light of the hypnosis lamp, Huimin suddenly felt that this was a quiet and beautiful young man. Young, beautiful, and had all the things that the world envied, but he was living such an unhappy life. It made one's heart ache. You like to play online games, right? How did you know? Ni Young raised his head and looked at Huimin cautiously. I saw it on your Tiebar. They said that you like to play an online game called Xanadu. This game isn't like normal online games where there's fighting and killing. This game doesn't allow killing. It's like the world is peaceful and everyone is living a happy life. Yeah, this kind of thinking can only be realized in the game. Ni Young smiled bitterly. Here. Huimin handed over something, but because it was held in his fist, it was hard to tell what it was. What is it? Ni Young asked curiously. Huimin slowly opened his palm, and there was a candy lying in it. It was a white rabbit creamy candy. Candy? Ni Young frowned, as if he didn't understand Huimin's intention. If you feel that life is tough, eat one. It's very useful. I'm not a child. Why are you giving me candy? Ni Young looked at Huimin with amusement and did not reach out to take it. Who said that only children need to eat candy? Sometimes, adults need it more because adults often feel more bitter. Children don't have so many complicated thoughts. Their world is very naive. You're right. Ni Young suddenly felt that Huimin's words made sense. He slowly took the candy from Huimin's palm and popped it into his mouth. Is it still bitter? Huimin asked softly. Ni Young shook his head. Go back and have a good sleep. Don't think about anything. Let's meet again in a few days when you're free. All right. By the time she was done with Ni Young, it was already 10 p.m. When he returned to the orthopedics department, he found that there was a pile of documents waiting for him in the office. Huimin, the Virgo workaholic, once again sat at his desk and got busy. Before he knew it, another hour had passed. Suddenly, his stomach began to cramp. Perhaps it was because he hadn't eaten for a long time, and he drank a lot of coffee on an empty stomach, so his stomach was acting up again. Gastritis was a chronic illness that she had when she was very young. It wasn't a serious illness, but it was very torturous. When the pain came, it was heartbreaking. Huimin held onto her stomach and leaned against the desk. She endured the pain and picked up her bag to look for the stomach medicine that she usually prepared. However, because she changed her bag, she didn't bring it. She forced herself to stand up and walk out, intending to get some from the pharmacy. However, she was surprised to see Huixichen at the door. What's wrong? He didn't tease Huimin like he always did. Instead, he saw that something was wrong with Huimin's expression and immediately walked over to her. I'm fine. Huamin coldly refused his approach. You don't look fine. Go away, it's none of your business. Huamin tried to push him away. However, Hua Xiqian grabbed her wrist tightly. Hua Xiqian, let go. Huamin was furious. Chapter 571. If you don't tell me what's wrong, I won't let you go. Hua Xiqian was more serious than ever. My stomach is acting up. In the end, Hua Xiqian couldn't argue with him, so Huamin had no choice but to surrender. He lowered his head and said, Your stomach is acting up. Hua Xiqian frowned slightly. Before Huamin could say anything, he dragged Huamin all the way to the pharmacy. He was even more familiar with the way there than Huamin. A bottle of omeprazole enteric capsules, Hua Xiqian said anxiously as they stood by the pharmacy window. The nurse in charge of getting the medicine had just taken a nap, so her movements were slow. She got up in a daze. Hurry up. Hua Xiqian suddenly raised his voice, scaring the nurse who was fetching the medicine. She didn't dare to delay, so she immediately handed the medicine to Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian took out $100 bill and threw it at the window. Then, he dragged Huamin away. In the lounge area on the second floor, Hua Xiqian poured a cup of warm water and handed it to Huamin. Hurry up and take your medicine. Huamin didn't say anything. He took the water, took out 2 stomach pills, and swallowed them. How did you know I took these pills? Huamin was confused. Why did Hua Xiqian seem to know her so well? The two of them hadn't interacted much in the past few years. Don't talk nonsense. You were perfectly fine, so why did your stomach suddenly act up? Hua Xiqian asked coldly. He was different from his usual jovial self. I was too busy and forgot to eat. Too busy? Is everyone else at Southside dead? You're the only one who's busy. Where are the others? Hua Xiqian was annoyed. Everyone else has their own jobs. I think I should withdraw my investment and open my own hospital. Otherwise, you will suffer from gastric perforation if you keep being ordered around like this, Hua Xiqian said fiercely. Even if you open a hospital, I won't go. Huamin went against him. Just like a child who was angry, looking at Huamin's stubbornness, Hua Xiqian was both angry and amused. Qin Chu is so rich, but he can't afford to raise you. Why are you still at work? What does this have to do with money? I want to maintain my independent working ability and personality. I don't want to be a dependent. You always have your reasons, twisting words and forcing logic. How can there be a woman like you in this world? You're so weird that it's scary. Your temper is like a cow's, disobedient and stubborn. After saying that, Hua Xiqian turned around and left after scolding him. Huamin pursed his lips, got up, and returned to his office to continue working. 20 minutes later, Hua Xiqian pushed open the door to Huamin's office and placed something on Huamin's desk. Hurry up and eat. Huamin looked at it and saw that it was vegetable porridge and cornbread, which was good for the stomach. You didn't put poison in here, did you? Huamin thought that it was a little strange that Hua Xiqian was being so nice to her. I put arsenic in here. Why? Do you dare to eat? Hua Xiqian said as he opened the box of vegetable porridge with a smile. He handed it to Huamin. If you have a weak stomach, you should be more careful. How could you forget to eat? Are you an idiot? You're the idiot. Huamin retorted. Yes, I'm an idiot. Hurry up and eat, stop talking nonsense. After saying that, he snatched some of the documents from Huamin's hands and threw them to the side. Then, Hua Xiqian sat across from Huamin and watched her eat. Under Hua Xiqian's watchful eyes, Huamin ate the porridge and cornbread in small bites. As expected, her stomach felt a lot warmer, and she didn't protest anymore. Hua Xiqian. What? Why are you so nice to me? Huamin asked word by word. Chapter 572. Do I need a reason to be nice to you? Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin, amused. Of course, no one would be nice to someone for no reason. There must be a reason, or a purpose. Purpose? Haha, then just think of it as me trying to get you on my side to deal with the old man with me. That's why I'm being nice to you. Hua Xiqian smiled meaningfully. Huamin remained silent, After a while, she said, I will deal with Hu Zhanghai. When he shamelessly attacked my mom and our old house, I decided to take revenge on him and his self-righteous mistress. Isn't that great? We're finally on the same side. I don't want to work with you. I have ways to deal with them myself, Hu Min said proudly. Okay, you're good. Just then, Hu Xiqian received a phone call and stood up. I'm going to go now. Take care of yourself, don't think that you're made of iron. The next time I see you having gastric problems, I'll whip you first. Hu Min was speechless. What kind of logic was that? Why did he have to be whipped when he was sick? Therefore, Hu Xiqian was definitely a psychopath. At the seductive Fox nightclub, Su Yu ignored the news and continued to eat, drink, and have fun with a group of rich heirs. What's going on with you? Tang Chuan came over and sat down beside him. There's nothing going on. Wasn't it just a provocation? I heard that GK said that they'll get you in a week. Apparently, they've already contacted the celebrities under your company and offered you 3 times the price. People are all snobs. They'll betray you for sure if they get the money. Then let them go. They're just celebrities, I'm making new ones. Su Yu took a sip of red wine and smiled. How can you still smile at a time like this? Oh my God, you have such a big heart, Tang Chuan exclaimed. If I don't laugh, how can I cry? Besides, it's just a small matter. Is there a need to cry? It's not like I, Su Yu, haven't never seen the wind and the waves, so don't worry about me. Yes. We won't worry for nothing. When Qin Chu destroys your nest, don't complain to us, Tang Chuan said sarcastically. Don't worry, as long as you're still alive, you'll never see the classic scene of my home being raided. Su Yu's insolence was known to the world. I have the looks, I have the money, I am invincible, I can get whatever I want. There are only things I don't want, and nothing I can't get. This was the state of Lord Su's life for the first 20 years or so. However, his entire life was turned upside down when his nemesis, Hu Mian, appeared. Su Yu liked to wear bright colors, different from Qin Chu's black and gray colors. Tonight, he wore an orange shirt and a limited edition Cartier bracelet on his wrist. It was fashionable yet elegant. Jian Tong played with the others in the private room for a while and sang for a while. Then, she sat down beside Su Yu. She was promoted after Zhao Qingya went missing. Rumors said that she was Su Yu's new lover. Because she was the female lead of several movies, she was often the one standing next to Su Yu at press conferences for new movies. However, only she knew the truth. She had been by Su Yu's side for a while now, but Su Yu never even touched her hand. Not to mention sleeping with her, women were like this. If they liked a man, they would feel uneasy if they didn't sleep with him. It was as if they didn't belong to each other. President Su. I'd like to propose a toast to you. Thank you for taking care of me all this time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to make a name for myself. Jian Tong poured herself a glass of red wine and raised her glass to Su Yu with a slightly smile. Chapter 573. Su Yu didn't say anything. Instead, he raised his glass and took a sip. President Su, I know you didn't react to the confrontation with GK on the surface, but I'm sure you already have a plan. You're smart, Su Yu glanced at Jian Tong and said. If you need me for anything, just let me know. I, Jian Tong, will do anything for you, an imperial star. Jian Tong wasn't a flowery actress. She was a woman of few words and knew her place, which was why Su Yu tried so hard to promote her. She wasn't like Mion Mion. Mion didn't become arrogant after a bit of fame. It's fine, just do your job normally. If they come to hire you, just raise the price. It's best if it's 10 times higher. And then? Jian Tong asked softly. Then you can sign with them and go straight to them. President Su. I won't leave Imperial Star, no matter how much money they give me. I'll only follow you, Jian Tong explained anxiously. Don't worry, this is only part of my plan. Don't worry about it. It's a part of the plan. Jian Tong seemed to have vaguely understood something. Su Yu smiled and didn't say anything else. When the party ended, Jian Tong was escorted home by bodyguards. Su Yu got into his black Lamborghini. I say, Are you really going to be a monk? Jian Tong is such a great girl. Didn't you bring her home to sleep with? It's good to release some heat. Men will become impotent if they don't have sex for a long time. Wei Liao laughed. Even if I don't have sex for a year, I'm still invincible. Don't compare me, a god, to mortals like you, okay? After speaking, Su Yu stepped on the gas and the Lamborghini sped away. Damn, he's so pretentious. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were speechless at Su Yu's recent behavior. Was it really fun to sleep alone in such a big villa? Su Yu's life had been very fulfilling recently. He wouldn't stay up all night to play. Other than going to work, she went home on time. Occasionally, she would cook for herself. Beside Su Yu's bed, there were 3 photo frames of the same woman. The first photo was taken secretly by Su Yu in the hospital with Huamin wearing glasses. The second photo was of a charity auction. Huamin was wearing an evening gown and standing on the stage. The third picture was a picture of her falling asleep a few days ago. Her face was smudged by her own drawing. She looked so adorable. Su Yu felt like he was possessed, but I have to look at these photos every night before I go to bed. He even thought that sooner or later, Huamin would be sleeping in his bed. There's a saying that's right, a person must have a goal in life. Huamin was married, yes, and his behavior was immoral. However, he wasn't a third party, because the title of third party and mistress was based on the premise that Huamin cheated on him. Huamian had to accept him and maintain some kind of relationship with him before she could call him a homewrecker or a third party. The current situation was that Huamin and Qin Chu were very close, but Huamin kept him at arm's length. He was tortured by Huamin time and time again, and turned around in loneliness time and time again. Therefore, at most, he was a single dog that was in love with Huamin. Just then, he received a text message. It was from his assistant and boss. 5 artists from our company have signed contracts and are ready to jump ship to GK. Got it. After replying to An's text, Su Yu smiled and muttered to himself. Qin Chu, you want to keep playing? Fine, I'll play with you. Chapter 574. GK Headquarters - Sir, our new company is progressing well. In such a short time, 5 superstars from Imperial Star have already signed agreements of intent with us. Assistant Yang was in a good mood. He brought a cup of coffee to Qin Chu's desk and carefully flattered him. Too slow, Qin Chu said faintly. 5 superstars really weren't Qin Chu's ultimate goal. His goal was to get all of Imperial Star's artists to come out on the red carpet. In other words, he wanted to poach all of Imperial Star's pillars. Phut. Sir, Imperial Star has been around for so many years. They have the support of financial groups and the Su family's connections. They're not like those small companies that we can easily destroy. Sir, please calm down. Assistant Yang thought that for a big company like Imperial Star Entertainment, it was already good enough that they were able to poach 5 superstars in such a short time. It would be embarrassing if they couldn't even poach one. After all, GK Film and Television's opening ceremony was in a few days and they would walk the red carpet. Tell them to get it done quickly. Also, the agreement of intent isn't safe. Tell them to get the real contract as soon as possible. Yes, sir. At first, everyone thought that Qin Chu's orders were impossible. Later, they realized that money made the world go round. However, the agreement of intent was only a preliminary agreement and couldn't be considered the final contract. Qin Chu was very careful and didn't celebrate too early. After all, he didn't think that Su Yu was an idiot and would be defeated so easily. Plus, after such a big commotion, not only did Su Yu not react, he even avoided the media every day and had the time to eat breakfast. Therefore, Qin Chu thought that he had a plan and had to be careful. Inside the luncheon group cafeteria, Qin Chu rarely ate in the cafeteria because he always liked peace and quiet. The few times he did, it was because he brought clients to visit the cafeteria and observe the company. Today, Qin Chu made a rare appearance in the cafeteria. As soon as he walked in, hundreds of employees all stood up. President Qin, their neat appearance was comparable to a military parade. It was obvious that the employees were of high quality. Little Yang followed behind Qin Chu. He had never felt so superior before. It turned out that by standing beside Chairman Qin, she could borrow his powerful aura to make herself dazzling. At this moment, he suddenly thought of his boss's woman. That woman had an extraordinary temperament. She wasn't devastatingly beautiful, but the moment his boss saw her, his eyes became gentle. She must feel very happy standing next to the boss. Qin Chu found a seat and sat down. Little Yang immediately went to get some food, and the boss appeared in the staff cafeteria. Everyone in the kitchen was flattered. The quick-witted chef specially added 2 stir-fried dishes for the boss. Qin Chu and Little Yang sat facing each other. Little Yang ate silently. At this moment, the sound of high heels approached. Assistant Yang looked up and saw Jiang Linyue's delicate face. Jiang Linyu always wore branded clothes and had a strong presence. She drove an expensive car and was young, so she could be considered a kind person in GK. President Qin, she said coquettishly. What is it? Qin Chu elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth. He looked up and glanced at her face. President Qin, I want to talk to you about our new film and television company. Work matters can be discussed in the conference room. Qin Chu coldly refused. But, this is a private matter, Jiang Linyu said, unwilling to give up. Private matter? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows slightly and looked up at her again. Sir, should I leave for a moment? Upon hearing that Director Jiang said it was a private matter, Little Yang felt like he was unnecessary. He quietly asked Qin Chu. Chapter 575. Qin Chu ignored Assistant Yang, meaning that he wasn't going to let him go, speak. In the end, Qin Chu gave Jiang Linyu a chance to talk about the new company. Jiang Linyu was immediately overjoyed. She sat down next to Assistant Yang, directly across from Qin Chu. President Qin, although I work in the design department, I've been paying close attention to the opening of our film and television company. I also know that you've been trying to rope in a lot of famous movie stars. There's an A-list actress at Imperial Star, Annie Liang, and she's the cousin of one of my best friends. With this relationship, I'm sure it won't be a dream to convince her to come over. Of course. I'll have to use my personal connections. That won't be necessary. Director Jiang, since you work in the design department, you should do your job well. Qin Chu's voice was calm, and his intentions were clear. He wasn't happy about Jiang Linyue's words at all. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyue's expression changed slightly. Sir, I just want to do more for the company. I've been at GK for a long time, and I'm considered an old employee. I know what I'm doing. I'm not here to ask for credit, I just want to express my determination. I hope you can give me this opportunity. If you can convince Annie Liang, then that's great. Our company can also offer you 3 times the price of Imperial Star. You can talk to her. Thank you for your trust, President Qin. But Qin Chu wanted to say something, but he stopped. Jiang Linyu immediately looked at Qin Chu nervously when she heard that he had something else to say, but if you don't succeed this time, then don't ever think about getting involved in film and television again. You should know that I don't like it when employees overstep their authority. Since you work in the design department, then you should put your efforts into the design department and produce more works. I understand. Jiang Linyu nodded. However, she didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Instead, she stared at Qin Chu's chef's masterpiece. This looks so delicious, is it broccoli? Jiang Linyu immediately pretended to be naive. She wanted to use her naive expression to get Qin Chu's attention. However, reality was always cruel. Qin Chu just said faintly, then I'll give it to you. Jiang Linyu was just about to rejoice when she saw Qin Chu elegantly stand up and straighten the slightly wrinkled sleeves of his suit. Then, he left. Little Yang hadn't eaten yet. When he saw the boss leave, he also got up and left. Jiang Linyu didn't even get the chance to thank the boss before she. Everyone looked at him strangely. What are you looking at? Eat your food, Jiang Linyu said fiercely with a cold expression. In front of Qin Chu and in front of her subordinates, she was always different. This was something that was very admirable. On the other side, at the Southside Sanatorium it was rare for Huo Min to get off work early and not have to work the night shift. She was so happy that she stopped at the supermarket on her way home. Mr. Qin, I'm at the supermarket. What do you want to eat tonight? Huamin sweetly picked up the phone. Eat you. Can't we have fun? Can you be serious? Huamin chuckled. I'm serious, I really want to eat you. Qin Chu's voice had a unique charm to it. If he said this to Huamin, she would definitely blush. Luckily, he was on the phone. Hey, let's stop joking. Hurry up and tell me what you want to eat. I rarely get off work early, so I'll make it for you. Mion, let's go back to the old mansion, okay? I want to see my dad. Qin Chu's voice was very soft. He seemed to be carefully asking for Huamin's opinion. He occasionally called back and heard that his father's old illness had relapsed since autumn, and he seemed to be in poor health. No matter how much they treated Huamin, they were still his biological parents, so Qin Chu's heart still softened. Hearing that Huamin didn't reply, Qin Chu thought she was angry. Mion, are you angry? He asked tentatively. Chapter 576. No, I was just thinking about what kind of cigarettes your dad likes to smoke. The last time I went there, I only remember that it was a blue pack of cigarettes, but I don't remember the name. Do you know what it is? I'll buy a few, Huamin said casually. Huamin's words warmed Qin Chu's heart. He thought that she was angry, but she was already silently choosing cigarettes for his father. How could he not love a woman like her? In the end, Huamin bought a few Nanjing cigarettes that cost 580 yuan each. Apparently, that cigarette was Qin Chu's father's favorite. Then, she bought some fresh fruits and Huamin drove straight home. When she parked her car at Imperial Park, Qin Chu's car arrived as well. Qin Chu got out of the car and moved everything into the Maybach. Then, Huamin changed into a simple pair of jeans, a white spaghetti strap, and a black sweater. She took her bag and sat in the passenger seat. Honey, are you hungry? On the way, Qin Chu raised his right hand and placed it on Huamin's small hand, asking gently. I'm a little hungry. Huamin rubbed her stomach. Today, the cafeteria at Southside had reached an all-time high. The pickled cabbage stewed pork ribs tasted terrible. Huamion really wanted to ask that chef, what on earth did you do to make such delicious ingredients taste so bad? Then, she thought about it and decided to forget it. There were hundreds of people at Southside eating here. So, in the end, Huamin only ate a few mouthfuls. She had been busy since noon, so when Qin Chu asked her, she was indeed a little hungry. How about it? I'll give it to you right now. Qin Chu slid his big hand down to her thigh. Only then did Huamion realize what he meant when he said he was hungry. She immediately raised her hand and slapped Qin Chu's shoulder. She laughed and scolded, "You pervert." Qin Chu looked at her innocently and asked, "Honey? I just wanted to say, do you want me to get you some fruit from the trunk? How is that perverted? Are you thinking too much again?" Huamin, after being played by Mr. Qin again, Huamin felt like she was going to bury her face in the ground. The two chatted and laughed along the way, and finally arrived at the Qin manor. Ever since their last talk, Qin Chu's father had to compromise. He rarely went to the company, and he didn't care about projects that cost more than 100 million yuan. He gave all the power to his son. After all, he only had one son. Plus, the major shareholders on the board of directors all recognized Qin Chu's abilities, so Qin Yuman didn't interfere. Recently, his health had not been very good, so he could recuperate at home. Occasionally, he would go abroad. It could be said that his life was fulfilling. At the entrance of the manor, Qin Chu drove the Maybach into the driveway and parked it in front of the gate. Then, the two of them got out of the car and walked in. "Young master." "Young madam." The maid was more sensible. When she saw Qin Chu and his wife, she immediately greeted them. "Where's my dad?" "Master is upstairs." "I'll go get him." "Okay." Qin Chu asked his father directly. He didn't ask his mother because he had always been careful. When he saw that his mother's car wasn't there, he guessed that she had gone out. When Qin Yuman came down and saw the two of them, he didn't show much on his face. He only asked, "You're back?" Huamin didn't say anything. He quietly took the fruit to the side, washed it, and put it on a plate. Then, he brought it over. Chin Chu and his father sat on the sofa and talked for a while. The maid said, Master, a young lady, it's time to eat. Okay. Chin Chu and his father stood up. My mom went out. She's not coming back for dinner? Chin Chu asked. Yeah, she's been addicted to playing cards lately. She often plays until late at night. Chin Yumin sounded like he was complaining. If she likes it, just let her play. As long as she's not addicted to it, it's fine, Chin Chu advised his father. Chin Yumin nodded. The three of them sat at the dinner table. Huamin didn't talk much because she didn't know what to say. After all, she wasn't liked in this family. So, she just ate in silence. Any news from your stomach? Suddenly, Chin Yumin's words broke the silence. Chin Chu and Huamin were surprised when they heard what he said. Huamin even wondered if he was talking to her. Chapter 577. Mion, Dad's asking you a question. Chin Chu looked at Huamin with a slight smile. Not yet. Huamin lowered her head. She was embarrassed to talk about this in front of the elders. Just then, Chin Yumin nodded and said, You guys aren't young anymore, don't just focus on your career. Hurry up and have a child. My health is deteriorating day by day. Maybe I won't have the chance to see a grandchild by the time I leave. That would be a shame. Dad, you're fine, don't think too much about it, Chin Chu comforted. Yeah, you'll be fine. No matter how estranged Huamin was with them, she was still a soft-hearted woman. Hearing Chin Chu's father say this made her feel bad. We're old, the world belongs to you young people. Although Huamin isn't the ideal daughter-in-law in my and your mother's eyes, fate is sometimes a magical thing. Not everything will go according to one's wishes. I haven't been feeling well lately, so I've been reading and thinking about a lot of things. Since you guys are husband and wife, you should treat each other well. It's a blessing that the two of you can live together. Cherish it. I will, Dad. Chin Chu nodded as if he was making a promise to his father. Chin Yumin looked at Huamin again and said, No matter how unpleasant things were in the past, it's all in the past. Since you guys are a family now, I hope you guys can live happily ever after. I know it's useless to apologize for what happened, after all, she's gone. However, I still want to apologize to you. If I have the chance, I want to apologize to your mother as well. It's our fault for being so ridiculous and causing such a tragedy for your family. Chin Yumin's eyes were glistening with tears as he said this. The truth was, he didn't know about what happened until later. Before that, the driver who caused the accident had been in contact with Lady Chin. However, Chin Yumin couldn't ignore the accident. He had to protect his wife first. Therefore, he had been feeling guilty all these years. Even though he wasn't the murderer, he was an accomplice. Huamin was quite surprised that an old man of such status would suddenly apologize and repent to him. He wasn't mentally prepared at all. If it wasn't for Chin Chu gently touching her arm, she probably wouldn't have recovered. My mother has already forgiven Chin Chu. However, it seems that it will take some time for her to forgive you, Huamin said slowly. We won't ask for her forgiveness. People have to pay the price for their mistakes. I think my illness is retribution. Huamin listened quietly. In comparison, Chin Chu's father was indeed much better than his mother. Although his father was old-fashioned and strict, at least he was reasonable and could distinguish right from wrong. However, Chin Chu's mother was quite scary. She was very controlling. Not only would she control her husband for the rest of his life, but she would also control her son. As long as she didn't get what she wanted, she would flip out and become violent. After Chin Yumin said this, he picked up a small wine glass and took a sip of white wine. He seemed to be in a heavy mood. Dad, don't drink too much, the doctor said it's bad for your head. Chin Chu was a little worried. It's fine, if the king of hell wants me to die at midnight, then I won't live to see dawn. Life and death are predestined. How could a glass of wine have anything to do with it? Don't make a fuss over nothing. After that, Chin Yumin looked at his son and asked, I heard that you're going to invest in film and television? Yes. Chin Chu nodded. Why? Chin Yumin continued to ask as he looked at his son. After Qin Chu heard this, he first turned to look at Huamin, as if he was hesitating on how to answer his father's question. Chapter 578. I don't like Su Yu. Qin Chu replied, word for word. PFFF. Huamin almost spat out the soup in his mouth when he heard this answer. She thought that Qin Chu would definitely tell his father that the film and television company was profitable and had a bright future or something. She didn't expect Mr. Qin to be so willful. He didn't like Su Yu. Was that really a reason? If Qin Chu's father wasn't here, Huamin would have burst out laughing. His Mr. Qin was a comedian, okay? What would Su Yu think if he heard this? Huamin tried hard not to laugh. He lowered his head and pretended to eat. Qin Yumin froze for a second when he heard this. Then, he smiled and said, I didn't know my son could be so willful. Your son is a mortal too. He needs to eat and sleep. Don't treat him like a god, Qin Chu said in all seriousness. You're right, but it's always good for young people like you to spar and learn from each other. Making money in the film and television industry is one thing, but not letting Imperial Star dominate the industry is also a contribution to the industry. After all, if one company monopolizes the film and television industry, actors and actresses have no choice. What you're doing is giving young people who want to become famous a lot of opportunities. Dad, you're thinking too much. Qin Chu didn't think that he would think of so many reasons to invest in the film and television industry. Giving opportunities to young people? He wasn't Lei Feng, why would he help others? He just didn't like Su Yu, because he was too free. He was so free that he went to South Side and flirted with his wife. Qin Chu couldn't tolerate this. To Qin Chu, Huamin was his only and final bottom line. Anyone who dared to touch Huamin would die. Simple and violent. This was the arrogant Mr. Qin's style. After dinner, Qin Chu drank some tea with his father in the living room and talked about the company's current situation. Huamin sat on the side with his phone in his hand, chatting with Ji Xin and Ling Ling. Even after they left, they still didn't see Lady Qin. Huamin felt that this was the best way to avoid any unpleasantness. On the way back, Qin Chu held Huamin's hand and refused to let go. Why are you holding on to me so tightly? Are you afraid that I'll run away? No matter where you go, you'll always be my wife. Qin raised her hand and kissed it. Thank you for buying cigarettes for my father. My father seems to have accepted you and is even apologizing for the past. This makes me very happy. Actually, let me say something. Don't be angry, haha. Huamin laughed. Go ahead. Your dad is much better than your mom, Huamin said honestly. Qin Chu immediately laughed out loud. Why are you laughing? I'm laughing because you said what my dad and I think. Not only you, but everyone who interacts with them also thinks the same. My dad is more than 10 times better than my mom. One is an ambitious and far-sighted entrepreneur, while the other is a controlling housewife with no foresight. Do you think it's possible? I really don't understand why your dad married your mom in the first place. People say that if your dad marries the wrong person, your childhood will be filled with pain. If you marry the wrong woman, your middle age will be filled with pain. If your son marries the wrong woman, your old age will be filled with pain, Huamin said enthusiastically. Qin Chu smiled. Luckily, it's only pain in my childhood. I'll definitely be happy in my middle age. In the future, I want my son to marry a good wife like you. Then, we'll be happy in our old age. It's never too late to make up for it. You're shameless. Who wants to give birth to your son? Huamin teased with a smile. A daughter is fine too, I like both. The two made out all the way. When they were almost home, Qin Chu suddenly asked, Honey, are you sleepy? I'm not sleepy. Then how about I take you somewhere? Qin Chu smiled mysteriously. Then, he made an emergency U-turn and changed the direction of the car. Huamin had a feeling that tonight was going to be very interesting. Chapter 579. Huamin didn't ask where Qin Chu wanted to take her, because it was pointless. Based on her past experience, if she asked, Mr. Qin would at most reply with 2 words, take a guess. Guessing back and forth was a waste of brain cells, and Huamian didn't want to do it. After all, she was so tired at Southside that she didn't want to use her brain when she got home. Therefore, she quietly waited for Mr. Qin to arrange everything for her. Anyways, as long as she was with Qin Chu, she didn't care where they went. It didn't matter if it was eating at a food stall, admiring the night view by the beach, watching a movie downtown, or going to the night market in the suburbs. Even if it was just the 2 of them strolling on the road, it was fine. 20 minutes later, Qin Chu parked his flashy Maybach at the entrance of a 7-story nightless city center. Huamin got out of the car and looked up. She knew this place. It was the largest arcade in the city. No matter the season, it was always full. Apparently, it made a lot of money every day. It wasn't just kids who played video games these days, many adults were addicted to it as well. There were all kinds of games, from the 1st floor to the 7th floor. It was a big deal. Want to play video games? Qin Chu tilted his head and asked Huamin. Since we're already here, let's play. We can't sleep anyway, Huamin said with a smile. Qin Chu held her hand, and the 2 of them walked in. They took the elevator to the 7th floor. There weren't many people on the 7th floor, because the equipment was very high-end. Even the game coins were several times more expensive than the other floors. This was the so-called VIP, right? Rich people could enjoy the best service wherever they went. As soon as they walked in, Qin Chu exchanged 3,000 yuan worth of game coins at the counter. Then, he carried a small basket in one hand and held Huamin's hand with the other. They walked through the arcade. Huamin almost fainted at this warm and loving scene. Fortunately, Qin Chu's exposure rate was very low, and not many people knew him. Otherwise, the sky would be turned upside down. Qin Chu and Huamin played around with the plushes for a while. Huamin tried a few times, but he still couldn't find the black charcoal plushie that he wanted. After catching a few rabbits, he gave up and went to the fishing machine with Qin Chu. There were only 2 positions for the fishing machine. The opposite side was already occupied by a girl, and there was a man standing behind her. He should be her boyfriend. Huamin sat opposite her. Qin Chu sat beside Huamin and considerately put in the coins for her. On the other hand, Huamin was very accurate and scored very quickly. Holy shit. He's so good. He's an expert, the young girl with heavy makeup said in admiration as she watched Huamin play the game. Huamin smiled but didn't say anything. He continued to play. Honey, the jellyfish is out. Kill it. Qin Chu hugged Huamin's waist with one hand and pointed at the center of the machine with the other. The jellyfish was the ultimate boss. It was very small, and every time it appeared, there would be a group of big and small fish swimming around it. It was very difficult to hit, and the angle was very difficult to find. The girl on the other side wasted a lot of time but still couldn't hit the jellyfish. The jellyfish had a limited time, and there was a countdown from the moment it appeared. It was less than a minute. Huamin wasn't in a hurry. He quietly observed the frequency of the fish swimming and the angle at which he was fishing. Finally, when there were only 10 seconds left, the girl's boyfriend was anxious. He kept saying, "Hurry up, it's going to be over in 10 seconds. Hurry up. Don't rush me, I'm anxious too." The girl kept shooting the harpoon, but she still couldn't hit it. Huamin didn't make a move, but at the last moment, he pressed the button and the harpoon was firmly inserted into the jellyfish's body. In the middle of the machine, a lot of points instantly popped up. Wow, she hit it. She's so good, the young couple on the other side exclaimed. Nice job, give me a kiss, Qin Chu said with a smile. Huamin was also in a good mood. She tilted her head and kissed the corner of Qin Chu's mouth. Who would have thought that at such an age, the 2 of them would find the feeling of puppy love in the arcade? Not far away, a man narrowed his eyes and looked over. Is that Huamin? Chapter 580. Tang Chuan was a video game enthusiast, different from Wei Liao and Su Yu. Wei Liao and Su Yu spent most of their time at nightclubs and private clubs. Only Tang Chuan's childishness remained, and he often came here with a few other young masters to play. Tang Chuan never thought that he would see Huamin here. The person sitting next to her was Chin Chu. Tang Chuan took out his phone and secretly recorded a short video not far behind them. Then, he sent it to Suyu. So, as Chin Chu's buddy, Gao Ran was sometimes very annoying, but only occasionally. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan were Suyu's buddies, but they were always annoying. Although only Huamin's back could be seen in the short video, Suyu recognized her immediately. At this moment, in the executive meeting room at Imperial Star's headquarters. After watching the short video, Suyu looked up and looked around. Did you guys remember today's mission? Yes, President Su. The dozen or so executives all nodded. It was the middle of the night, but the big boss wasn't sleeping, wasn't flirting with girls, and wasn't going to nightclubs. Instead, he was working overtime and having a meeting. It seemed like Suyu could be serious sometimes. Dismissed. After speaking, Suyu stood up and left the meeting room. Then, he immediately called Tang Chuan. Hello. Lord Su. Where did you see her? Suyu didn't hold back at all and went straight to the point. TSK. Why aren't you sleeping in the middle of the night? Sleep your ass. It's good that you slept with her. That girl is crazy about you. Tang Chuan laughed evilly. Cut the crap. Tell me what I want. Suyu couldn't wait. What? If I tell you where she is, will you come immediately? Tang Chuan continued to tease Suyu with a smile. Little bastard, I'll give you 3 seconds. If you don't tell me, I'll send you to Southside again. Suyu began to threaten him. No. Lord Su, I'm done with you. I don't want to go to Southside again. Not only is the food bad, but Huamin is too damn scary. Tang Chuan still remembered Southside was still fresh in his memory. Not only was he tortured by Huamian, but he also couldn't eat, sleep, or get any girls over there. He was in a bad mood and was in a bad mood. Cut the crap. Get to the point. Suyu was impatient. If Tang Chuan was in front of him right now, he would definitely smash his head into pieces. She's on the 7th floor of the arcade. Before Suyu could say anything, Tang Chuan continued, but I advise you not to come. You should know from the video that she came with her husband. You'll only be looking for trouble if you come. Suyu remained silent upon hearing this. Hello? Lord Su, are you still there? Tang Chuan was confused. Turn on the video call. Then, Suyu quickly hung up the phone. Then, Tang Chuan restarted the video call. After the two connected, Tang Chuan purposely didn't point the camera at Huamin. Do you want to die? Suyu cursed. I can see her, but a bottle of laugh it. Tang Chuan bargained. Suyu's wine cellar was full of good wine. As a veteran wine lover, he owned a private estate in France. Apparently, Suyu would personally go there every year and choose a batch of good wine. He would send it back and store it for himself. Therefore, people in the industry would be honored if they could drink a bottle of Suyu's wine. Stop talking nonsense. I'll send you 10 bottles of red wine later. Hurry up and let me see. Suyu had a bad temper. He didn't have much patience. Tang Chuan saw that he had succeeded. He smiled and turned the camera. Then, the scene changed. Where is she? Suyu's face darkened. Ahem. I swear, she was playing fisherman just now. Is it true? Tang Chuan quickly explained. He was also confused. How did she disappear in such a short time? Motherfucker, if you can't find her, I'll go to the arcade and destroy you, Suyu threatened. Tang Chuan looked at Suyu's crazy face and laughed until his stomach hurt. Just you wait, Lord Su. Even if I have to turn this place upside down, I'll find your sweetheart. Tang Chuan turned around to look. At this time, a beautiful face appeared in the video call. Are you looking for me? Tang Chuan, who was holding the phone, and Suyu, who was in the video, were both dumbfounded by the sudden turn of events. Chapter 581. Chin Chu was standing in front of the camera, and he was alone. Huamin was nowhere to be seen. Tang Chuan was dumbfounded and didn't know what to do. Suyu, on the other hand, reacted quickly. He looked at Chin Chu with disdain and said, I want to see Huamin. Oh, then you don't have a chance. My wife already went downstairs. Tang Chuan, Su. Just then, Qin Chu smiled and said, President Su, it seems like you're not busy enough. I'll have to work harder. You think I'm afraid of you? You think you can defeat me with just a few tricks? You're too naive. Su sneered. He felt like Qin Chu hadn't even been back for a year and didn't seem to understand the situation in China. It wasn't that Imperial Star Media didn't have any rivals over the years, but those rivals all ended up in miserable states. Anyone who went against Su didn't have a good ending. Although GK was a big corporation, there was a saying that a powerful dragon couldn't defeat a local snake. Su felt like he was a local snake and this was his territory. There was no way he would be bullied by someone who had just returned from abroad 7 years ago. Don't be so sure. We'll see. After speaking, Qin Chu turned around. Suddenly, he turned around again and smiled at Su on Tang Chuan's phone. Oh, right. Didn't your teacher teach you something when you were in school? Don't think about things that don't belong to you. Otherwise, your life will be very tiring. After hearing this, Su's face darkened bit by bit. Then, he replied domineeringly, I'm sorry, I didn't even graduate from elementary school. I went straight to the army. I don't understand this bullshit. It's okay if you don't understand. I'll teach you the truth. Mr. Qin said arrogantly before turning around and walking away. Su didn't feel good at all. Damn it, he was so excited to see Huamin. Not only did he not see him, but he was also ridiculed by Qin Chu. Tang Chuan did not dare to provoke Su. He did not dare to say anything more and immediately hung up the video call. In fact, after the fisherman won, Huamin excitedly used the points he won to exchange for gifts. In the end, she changed to a lot of stuffed animals. She planned to put them on the rear window of her Audi R8. Although it was a little childish, she liked it. Qin Chu asked her to wait downstairs while he went to the bathroom. Just like that, she sent Huamin away. Qin Chu, on the other hand, had noticed when Tang Chuan was secretly taking photos of them for the first time, so he walked over directly. Talking to Su face to face, when Qin Chu went downstairs, Huamin was still waiting at the door with the doll in his arms. Get in the car. What took you so long? I thought you fell into the bathroom, Huamin teased. No, I just ran into someone I know and said a few words to. Oh, did he meet someone he knew here? Who is it? Huamin was curious. A business partner. Qin Chu thought for a moment and finally classified Su as a business partner. He wondered if Su would be depressed if he heard this. Oh, I see. What? Didn't you have enough fun? Qin Chu asked when he saw that Huamin was in a good mood. No, I'm pretty tired. Let's go home. Qin Chu nodded and opened the front passenger door for Huamin like a gentleman. The two went back to Imperial Park together. Huamin actually really wanted to go back to the castle. After all, it was a 400 million yuan mansion. However, he felt that it was too empty. After all, they didn't have children yet. So, even with a butler, driver, and maid, it was still weird for the two of them to live there. So, he decided to just treat Imperial Park as his home. After the two of them went back to take a shower, Huamin tiredly climbed onto the big bed. Qin Chu immediately rolled over and pressed himself on top of Huamin. Then, he seductively whispered into his ear, Dr. Hua, do you need a massage? Chapter 582. I don't need it, Huamin refused right away. Take it, I won't take your tip. Qin Chu smiled. Then, before Huamin could say anything, he reached his hand into her silky nightgown. Huamin felt all the cells in her body tremble. Qin Chu was always able to bring out his perverted nature in bed. Although they had been married for so long and had done it many times, but, faced with Qin Chu's passion, Huamin still felt like a shy girl. I'm shy, I'm shy, I'm shy. Important things had to be said 3 times. I don't want your tip. Huamin turned around and pushed Qin Chu's hand away. She smiled as if she wanted to reject him. After Qin Chu's hand was stopped, he didn't give up. Instead, he lowered his head and rubbed Huamin's sensitive ears and neck. Are you a wolf? Why do I feel like I can't feed you enough? Huamin sighed and asked. No, I'm easily satisfied. Once a day is enough. Once a day? Oh my God. Huamin wanted to say something, but before she could, she saw Qin Chu's entire body pressing down on Huamin's petite body. The night was dark, and the two of them made love for a long time. In the end, Qin Chu carried the exhausted Huamin to take a shower. Then, he carried her back to the big bed and gently held her in his arms. "Honey, I'm so sleepy." Huamin mumbled in a sleepy voice like a child. "Then sleep." Qin Chu raised his hand and gently stroked her delicate face. His eyes were still filled with love. Huamin was probably really sleepy, so it didn't take long for her to fall asleep. Qin Chu's hand on her face slid down to her flat stomach. At the thought that not long after, there might be a product of their love here, a cute baby. He was filled with happiness. If it was a boy, he would want him to be like him, a strong and tough guy so that they could protect their mother together in the future. If it was a girl, he would pamper her like a princess and let his daughter rule the world in the future. Qin Chu thought that it didn't matter if it was a boy or a girl. As long as it was Huamin's child, he would love it deeply. In a VIP room of a nightclub in the city center. "Annie, have you thought about what I told you?" Jiang Linyu was dressed in a black miniskirt, completely different from her usual white-collar look. She looked wild and wild. Through her best friend's introduction, she finally met Annie Liang. Annie Liang seemed to be hesitant during their previous phone calls. This time, they had arranged to meet at a small nightclub. They didn't dare to go to Seductive Fox. She was afraid that Su Yu and her friends would bump into them. After all, it was about job hopping. "I've thought about it, and 3 times the price is indeed quite high. However, I heard that your company is also offering 3 times the price to other people. Miss Jiang, you should know that I'm one of the best actresses in the industry. I won the Best Actress award before and came to Imperial Star from another company. I'm also quite rich. Now that you're offering me the same price as other people, I don't feel good about it. Aren't you looking down on me? Don't think that Jen Tong is more famous and popular than me right now, but I became famous before her. After all, I debuted earlier and still have a good reputation. Those scheming bitches like Zhao Qingya and Jen Tong can't compare to me, am I right?" Annie Liang was wearing a red low-cut dress and a black top hat. She played with her nails as she boasted shamelessly. Her attitude was extremely arrogant, which made Jiang Linyu uncomfortable. She didn't think that Annie Liang would put her in her place as soon as they started talking. Chapter 583. Annie Liang had always been an important person in the entertainment industry. She had won the Best Actress award before, so she had some capital. After she came to Imperial Star, her life had been smooth sailing, but unfortunately, she never became the #1 actress. Zhao Qingya used to suppress her, but after Zhao Qingya disappeared, Jen Tong took her place. Therefore, she had always been unhappy. She wasn't very popular, and it was exposed that she liked to act like a big shot. She had changed managers and assistants multiple times, and apparently, her private life was messy. She dated countless male celebrities and rich businessmen, which was why Imperial Star didn't want to promote her. "You're right, but you have to believe in our sincerity. As an executive of GK, I can speak directly to the president. The president said that as long as you're willing to come, everything is negotiable." Jiang Linyu's attitude was very good, and she kept smiling. Jiang Linyu wasn't in charge of film and television to begin with, so she tried so hard to rope in Annie Liang. She wanted nothing more than to ask Qin Chu for credit and impress him. Otherwise, with her arrogant personality, why would she take Annie Liang's attitude? "Everything is negotiable." That sounds nice, but it's not real. "Miss Jiang, tell me the truth, is GK sincere enough to sign me? If not, I won't waste my time here with you. I have a lot of scripts waiting for me to memorize at home." Then, Annie Liang got up to leave. Jiang Linyu quickly stopped her. No, everything is negotiable." "Really, why don't you give me a condition, and I'll see if I can accept it." Jiang Linyu was willing to risk everything in order to gain credit. Upon hearing Jiang Linyu's words, Annie Liang turned around and sat down. Then, she raised 5 fingers. 5 times. 5 times? Isn't that too much? Jiang Linyu vaguely heard that Annie Liang's annual salary at Imperial Star was 30 million yuan. Now, she was asking for 5 times that, which was 150 million yuan. Even if she was covered in gold, she still wasn't worth that much, right? She was asking for a sky-high price. 3 times, 90 million yuan, was already giving her a lot of face, but she was putting on airs. Jiang Linyu was furious, but on the surface, she was willing to continue the negotiation. Is it a lot? I heard that even a newbie like Mion was offered 3 times the price. I'm an award-winning actress who debuted many years ago. How is that not worth it? Annie Liang's tone was sour. It was obvious that she did not have a good relationship with the other female artists. Whether it was Jen Tong or Mion, she viewed them both as enemies. Jiang Linyu explained with a smile, the key is that Mion's contract isn't that expensive. 3 times the contract is less than 30 million yuan. You're so rich, 3 times the contract is already a huge amount. If it's 5 times the contract, then it's a bit over the budget. If that's the case, then I don't think there's any need for us to continue talking. As she spoke, Annie Liang tried to get up again. Jiang Linyu immediately pulled out her phone and said, Annie, wait a second. Don't worry, I'll call our president and ask what he thinks, okay? After all, it's too much money, and I can't make the decision. If the boss agrees, I naturally hope that you can earn more. After all, you're Huan's cousin, and we're not far from each other, right? Upon hearing this, Annie Liang turned around and leaned back on the sofa. She didn't say anything else, seemingly agreeing with Jiang Linyu's words. She was waiting for her to call her boss. Jiang Linyu picked up her phone, walked a few steps to the center of the room, and dialed Qin Chu's number right in front of Annie Liang. Chapter 584. When Qin Chu and Hua Min slept in the same bed, their phones were always on silent. This was because he didn't want to scare Hua Min if he called. However, Qin Chu wasn't asleep. He was looking at some floor plans of the company on his tablet. His phone lit up silently. He glanced at it and saw that it was a call from Jiang Linyu. However, he didn't plan on picking up. Truth be told, he was a bit disgusted by Jiang Linyu. Women who appeared obedient on the surface were actually the scariest. If they could pretend to be like this, then you would never know what they were really hiding in the depths of their hearts. People who wore a scary mask would never be able to see through or communicate with people like her. In comparison, Qin Chu loved people like Hua Min, who revealed their true selves at all times. It didn't matter if Hua Min was arrogant, pretentious, or cold. At least she always showed her true self. After ringing for a while, Jiang Linyu didn't pick up. Instead, she pretended to say, "Hey, boss, sorry for bothering you. I need to talk to you. Can you increase Miss Annie Liang's salary by 5 times? What? Oh, okay, I got it. We'll have to work together next time." After hanging up, Jiang Linyu looked at Annie Liang with a bit of frustration and said, "I'm sorry, Annie, our boss didn't agree. He said that 5 A-listers from Imperial Star already came over. As for you, we can only triple your salary. Even if it's triple, you're still the highest. 5 times is too high and not within the company's budget. It looks like we'll have to work together next time." Annie Liang's face darkened bit by bit as she heard this. The truth was, 3 times was already very high, but she just wanted it to be a bit higher. That was why she purposely wanted to leave again and again. Now that Jiang Linyu took the initiative, she was almost at a loss for words. The tables had turned, and Annie Liang was caught off guard. "What did President Qin say?" Annie Liang asked, unwilling to give up. Jiang Linyu sat down next to Annie Liang, looked into her eyes, and said awkwardly, "Annie, our boss is very decisive and resolute, and no one can change his mind. As a friend, I hope you cherish this opportunity. After all, there aren't many opportunities. I've heard from Huan about you, and it seems like things aren't going well for you at Imperial Star. Imperial Star is like a star-making factory, and it produces so many new talents every year, so it's very competitive. Why don't you jump ship to us while you're still young? We're just starting out, and we'll definitely promote famous actresses like you. After all, we've spent a lot of money on you, right? You're a smart person. I don't have to say much. You know the reason. So, go back and think about it. There's not much time. If it's possible, we can sign the contract tomorrow morning. If not, it's okay. With Juan's relationship, we'll always be friends. Annie Liang gasped when she heard what Jiang Linyu said. What was this called? It was a battle between two scheming bitches. Annie Liang had always thought that she had seen all kinds of people in the entertainment industry since she debuted in her teens. Her scheming was unfathomable, and normal women were no match for her. However, this professional executive, Jiang Linyu, managed to put her at a disadvantage with just a few words. This made her look at her in a new light. Most importantly, Jiang Linyu kept using Juan as an excuse to talk about Juan. She said things like, "I'm doing it for your own good, we're friends, and I'm looking out for your interests." However, even though Annie Liang knew that she was just being polite, she was still speechless. She stared into Jiang Linyu's eyes and sighed slightly. "Miss Jiang, you have such a sharp tongue." Chapter 585. No, I'm just an errand girl. I really want to poach a superstar like you for our company. Jiang Linyu smiled. Okay, I'll think about it when I get back. I'll get back to you later. Okay, I look forward to working with you. Jiang Linyu shook hands with Annie Liang. The negotiation went well. The two walked out one after the other. Annie Liang wrapped herself up tightly, afraid that the media or Imperial Star would see her. After all, if she left Imperial Star for money, she would be betraying her master for glory. She actually liked Suyu a lot, but Suyu never liked her, so she decided to take this opportunity to join GK. She saw Qin Chu's picture in a magazine once, and he was an extraordinarily handsome man. Although his expression was cold, she was still very interested in him. Therefore, in her heart, she was already leaning towards GK. She just wanted to take this opportunity to raise the price, but to her surprise, Jiang Linyu's phone call stopped her from doing so. On the way back, Jiang Linyu was in a great mood. She drove and listened to English songs. Her best friend, Liao Juan, sent her a WeChat message. Yeah, what's going on? What did my cousin say? She should be able to come, she said she'll get back to me tonight, Jiang Linyu replied. What an idiot, what's there to think about? She should have just signed. Imperial Star really isn't a good fit for her, she's already fallen out of favor with young Master Su. Wait, I'll call her and talk to her for you. Jiang Linyu put down her phone and smiled slightly. She was determined to get Annie Liang. She wanted to win Qin Chu's appreciation bit by bit, and then climb into her boss's bed. This was her ultimate dream. She no longer thought about the issue of status. She didn't care who Qin Chu's wife was, but she had to sleep with her boss. Otherwise, all the years she spent at a boring corporation like GK would have been wasted. Was she someone who would give up so easily? Of course not. 1 a.m. after Jiang Linyu went home and showered, she received a call from Annie Liang. She said that they could sign the contract tomorrow. She was instantly in a great mood. As far as she knew, the other artists in GK only signed intent contracts. The contract of intent was not the final contract, and there was a possibility of it being breached at any time. However, if they were to sign a real contract and breach the contract, they would have to pay 10 times the penalty. She believed that Annie Liang wasn't that stupid. Suyu wouldn't burn 10 times the money for her to breach the contract, so everything would be fine after tomorrow. She was a little excited now. She thought about how she would be able to stand beside her boss during the company's 30th anniversary party. Therefore, she had to work harder to get close to Qin Chu. The next morning at about 9 p.m., Suyu drove his dusty orange Bugatti Veyron to the car wash in a flashy way. After that, he went to the headquarters of Star King. Good morning, President Su. Good morning, President Su. In the company's lobby, when some employees saw their boss, it was as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They all rushed forward to flatter him. Su Yu looked at his Patek Philippe watch, which cost more than 1 million yuan, and his face darkened. It's almost 10 o'clock. What do you mean by early? Instantly, the entire place fell silent. The boss isn't in a good mood. Is it because he was poached recently? I don't know. The boss isn't that stingy, right? Maybe it's because he hasn't had a woman recently and has nowhere to vent his anger. A few male employees whispered to each other. Inside the president's office, Airboss, assistant, and stood at the door with a straight face and quietly called out. What's the progress with GK? Su Yu walked in, grabbed a cocktail from the wine cabinet, and drank it like it was a soft drink. 5 artists have signed the contract of intent, but, speak. Su Yu looked at An, wanting to say something but hesitating, and ordered him. But that woman, Annie Liang, went to sign a real contract this morning. Do we have to stop her? An asked. Chapter 586. Su Yu slowly put down the cocktail bottle. Stop them? Why should I stop them? Boss, didn't you plan to let them? Annie Liang was never part of my plan. Su Yu smiled faintly, and suddenly understood. Boss, you're saying that we should use this opportunity to get rid of her. She's past her prime here anyway, and she's never been obedient. She's been fighting for the company's reputation, so it's a good idea to let her go. Wherever people like her go, no one will be safe. Boss, you're very thoughtful, but what about the others? How many days until the opening of GK Film and Television? 2 days. Oh, good, just let them continue with the plan. Okay. And nodded and turned to leave. Su Yu crossed his legs and leaned back in his luxurious executive chair. He was looking forward to the opening of GK Film and Television in 2 days. It was going to be very lively. As their biggest competitor, shouldn't they send a wreath, oh no, a flower basket over? GK headquarters boss, Director Jiang has successfully signed Annie Liang this morning. It's a good thing for us. Yang excitedly reported on the new company's progress. He thought that his boss was happy. However, there wasn't a trace of happiness on Qin Chu's face. Qin Chu looked at the numbers on his laptop and said nonchalantly, "What's there to be happy about signing a has-been star for 90 million yuan? Weren't you the one who set the price?" Yang asked fearlessly. Qin Chu let go of the mouse and turned to look at Yang. "My goal isn't to get a star, but to make Imperial Star run out of stars." "Oh, so that's your goal, but there are so many stars in Imperial Star, we can't get all of them." Yang looked sad, thinking that his boss's mission was too difficult. "That's why we're picking famous stars." "Oh, I see." As soon as Yang finished speaking, someone knocked on his office door. "Come in." "CEO Qin, I want to talk to you about Annie Liang's contract." Today, Jiang Linyu was wearing a pair of flesh-colored wide-legged pants and a vest. She did look a lot younger, but no matter how exquisite she looked, Qin Chu wouldn't take another look at her. "I heard about it from Xiao Yang. President Qin, I signed a real contract, not an intention contract," Jiang Linyu anxiously added. "I know." Qin Chu's voice was still indifferent. "Miss Annie Liang wanted 5 times the original amount, but I purposely called you last night and told you that you could only offer 3 times the original amount. I spent a lot of time with her before I finally won her over. Looks like my efforts were not in vain." Jiang Linyue's words were so direct that even Assistant Yang didn't know what she meant. Wasn't he just here to take credit and ask the boss to praise him? Unexpectedly, Qin Chu calmly dialed the finance department's internal line. Then, he instructed, "When you give out your monthly salary, give Director Jiang in the design department 3 times the salary as a bonus." "Yes, President Qin," the Director of Finance immediately responded. Jiang Linyu quickly explained, "President Qin, I didn't mean for a bonus, you misunderstood me. It's okay, you deserve it." When Qin Chu spoke, his gaze was fixed on the computer screen. He didn't even look at Jiang Linyu, but Jiang Linyu seemed like she still wanted to say something. "Nothing, you can leave now. If you have something to say, we'll talk about it in the morning meeting." Qin Chu's one sentence silenced all of Jiang Linyue's words. Yes, President Qin. Jiang Linyu turned around and left the president's office, a bit dejected. Shouldn't the president be happy that she signed Annie Liang? Why did he only give her a bonus? She wasn't someone who loved money. Sir, should we leak the news of Annie Liang signing a contract to the media? It'll be very beneficial for our company, Assistant Yang excitedly asked. No. Qin Chu immediately rejected him. Why not? It's such a good opportunity, sir. Assistant Yang's enthusiasm was instantly extinguished by Qin Chu, and he was instantly defeated. Chapter 587. Qin Chu glanced at Yang and patiently explained, Annie Liang has a bad reputation in the industry. Her private life is messy and she has a lot of negative news. If we expose her too much, it'll cause a lot of gossip. Then, it'll drown out the news of our new company's opening. Do you think that'll work? Sir, you're indeed very thoughtful. I was too abrupt, but I didn't think you would pay attention to gossip. You even know that Miss Annie Liang's private life is messy and has a lot of negative news, haha. Little Yang laughed joyfully. He thought that with his boss's arrogance, he wouldn't know any female celebrities. Except for a young lady, know yourself and know your enemy. If I don't know them, how can I fight with Suyu? Sir, you're absolutely right. Stop flattering me and get to work. The opening is in 2 days, I don't want to see any mistakes. Yes, sir. Qin Chu had been busy with the opening of his new company and GK's 30-year anniversary celebration. He had a lot of work to do as soon as he entered the company. Southside Recuperation Center Jiang Xiaowei, the psychologist, came twice. However, she didn't succeed. Ni Yang's emotional knot was too deep, so he couldn't break through at the critical moment. Seeing that Ni Yang's treatment had reached a bottleneck, Huamin made a bold decision and decided to take a risk. Therefore, she met with Ni Yang alone in the VIP hypnosis room. Before meeting with Ni Yang, she opened her palm and swallowed 2 pink pills. I'll be counting on you later. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Ni Yang walked in. He was wearing black casual wear, a black baseball bat, a white mask, and black sunglasses. It was the standard look of a celebrity. Huamin was still wearing her white lab coat. She had shoulder-length hair, a handsome face, and bright eyes. Perhaps because they had interacted before, Ni Yang felt that Huamin was a trustworthy person. Therefore, he was very cooperative with the treatment. Are we going to hypnotize him again today? Ni Yang took off his mask, his eyes filled with sadness. Even the tone of his voice sounded so unhappy. No more hypnosis today, we have more important things to do today, Huamin said in all seriousness. Do you want me to sedate him? I can't right now, I have a lot of things to do, and I have a new music video to shoot tomorrow. Ni Yang thought Huamin's hypnosis. He thought that Huamin's hypnosis would be effective drugs to control his condition. However, Huamin, once again, then, Huamin, attention, Huamin's, attention, mean of the attention mean. She didn't know when Huamion had decorated the floor with tatami mats. There were 2 round grass mats on both sides, and in the middle was a small round wooden table. It was neither too big nor too small, just right. Ni Yang slowly walked over and sat down. Then, he leaned over and looked out of the window. Outside the window was the back garden of the hospital. Looking down from this angle, it was actually quite beautiful. Are we going to look at the scenery? Ni Yang asked faintly. No, I'll treat you to a drink today. Then, Huamin took out a few bottles of red wine and placed them on the small wooden table. There were blueberry-flavored, orange-flavored, and vanilla-flavored red wine. Of course, she couldn't tell him that she stole it from Mr. Qin's wine cellar at her old castle. Since Ni Yang was a celebrity, Huamin couldn't give him wine with a high alcohol content, so Huamin chose fruit-flavored red wine. Wine? Ni Yang looked at Huamin in disbelief. He thought that his assistant doctor, Huamin, was crazy. Chapter 588. Yeah, let's not talk about your illness today, we'll just drink. Why? Yang looked at Min cautiously. Because getting drunk will solve all your problems. Don't worry, I won't take photos of you while you're drunk. I'm not that unprofessional. I know, Yang said quietly. So are we drinking or not? I respect your decision. If you trust me, then sit down and drink as much as you want. If you have concerns, I understand. After all, you're a public figure. If your manager, Sister Ingzi, finds out, she'll probably scold me to death. Min laughed heartlessly. Even though she knew that she would be scolded and complained about, she was still willing to try. After about 5 seconds of silence, Yang slowly raised his head, revealing his clear eyes. Then, let's drink. Indeed, he had been too depressed recently. Sister Ingzi was very strict with him and didn't let him drink at all. She was afraid that he would lose his composure and ruin his image as an idol. He also knew that Sister Ingzi was doing this for his own good. Therefore, he didn't argue with him. Now that Min had brought out this wine, he was even allowed to drink as much as he wanted. He was really a young man who was ready to make a move. His pure hormones were jumping around. Just like that, the two of them faced each other and began drinking. Min was a northern girl and had a straightforward personality. She was also a drunkard who liked to drink a lot. If Qin Chu caught her, she would probably be screwed. However, in order to break through the bottleneck of treating Yang, she was going all out. She was risking her life to accompany him. This wine is pretty good, where did you buy it? Yang asked as he held up a glass of orange-flavored red wine. It's from my house. Min was a little embarrassed. She didn't dare to say that she stole it from Mr. Qin. The alcohol in your house is really good. Sister Ingzi doesn't allow me to drink, so I rarely drink cocktails. I only drink a little with the bosses during commercial performances. I'm really sick of socializing, but I can't change the situation. Don't you think I'm very stubborn? Yang smiled bitterly. Since you can't change your life, why not change yourself first? Min said calmly. Change myself? Yang looked at her in confusion. In other words, you're a celebrity, you're a public figure. Everyone's evaluation of you will definitely be mixed. You don't have to pay too much attention to the praises, and don't take the criticisms to heart either. Just be indifferent. Those are all illusions. Living a comfortable life is the real thing. You're right. I'm just too stubborn. I can't change the situation, but I have to complain every day. In the end, I ended up like this. I'm really not suited for the entertainment industry, I think. Then quit. Lin Fan's eyes widened. Quit? That's impossible. I have more than 20 contracts on my back. If I quit, I'll jump off a building. So, if you can't do it, don't complain. Then, Min said, maybe you think I'm being a little harsh, but I'm telling the truth. I know. Yang nodded. I can tell that you have unhappy pasts. Actually, everyone has them. No one is as happy as they appear to be. Recently, there's a saying on the internet that I really like. What saying? Yang seemed to be interested in Min's words. Deep feelings for the past, but never look back, Min said word by word. Deep feelings, haha. Indeed, never look back. That's right, I won't look back. Yang seemed to be touched. He picked up the bottle and took a big gulp. Min also raised the bottle in his hand. Cheers. Just then, Min's phone rang. It was Qin Chu. Sure, I need to take this call. Don't say anything. If Mr. Qin finds out that I'm drinking, I'm dead meat. After making a shushing gesture at Yang, Min stood up and picked up the phone nervously. Hello, Mr. Qin. Chapter 589. Honey, what are you doing? Qin Chu's gentle voice came from the other end of the phone. Work. Min purposely spoke in a light tone, afraid that Mr. Qin would notice something amiss. After all, Mr. Qin was incredibly smart. Work. What work? Chin Chu never asked about Huamin's daily work. Huamin was so scared that she felt even more guilty. The work that I do every day. I check the wards, observe the patients, and hold meetings with my subordinates. Oh, is that really the case? Chin Chu asked worriedly. Of course, everything's fine. What's wrong with you today? Why don't you trust me? Huamin still felt extremely guilty. My right eyelid was twitching a lot just now. Every time I have this feeling, it means that you're in trouble, Chin Chu said nonchalantly. Huamin was so scared that she almost dropped her phone. So you're suspecting that I'm in trouble? Huamin purposely asked. Yeah. Ayo, you're overthinking it. I'm working, I won't get into trouble. Don't worry about it. Then you be careful, Chin Chu said worriedly. Okay. Huamin nodded. After she hung up the phone, her heart finally settled down. She was really afraid that Chin Chu would ask her to turn on the video call. If she turned on the video call now, she wouldn't even be able to run out in time if she hesitated for a few seconds. Yang's terrifying agent was guarding the door. If she saw them drinking in the room, she would probably be scolded to death. Phew, that was close. Huamin put her phone in the pocket of her lab coat and let out a long sigh. What's wrong? Yang looked at her blankly. My husband just came to check on me. He doesn't allow me to drink. That was close. He almost found out. You're married? Yang was a little surprised. After all, Huamin looked so young. Yeah, I'm married, Huamin replied with a smile. How old are you? Why are you getting married? Yang seemed to be a little confused. Please, superstar, who cares about age now? The legal age for marriage is 20 years old for women and 22 years old for men. My husband and I both meet the requirements, so why can't we get married? Huamin had never felt that he had gotten married early. Perhaps he had already decided that Chin Chu would be his lifelong lover, so he had never considered this issue. But, the truth was, Huamin did get married a little early. She was the youngest among their classmates. Because she had skipped a grade, she was 3 years younger than her classmates. However, many of their classmates were still unmarried. Compared to them, she was considered to have gotten married early. After all, she was only 24 years old. No, I just think that it's too early. Some people just started their careers. I'm afraid that getting married too early will affect their careers, Yang said slowly. Huamin nodded. You're right, but it depends on your profession. Of course, people in your profession can't get married too early. Even if you do get married, you have to keep it a secret. After all, your fans won't be able to take it. I'm just a nurse, so why should I care so much? Isn't marriage and having children normal? It's a process that everyone has to go through in life. That's true. Huamin, you're so broad-minded. I thought that you had a very generous personality. You're not like those women who fuss over trivial things every day. But how did you do it? You're so young, you shouldn't be so mature, right? Yang was puzzled. Chapter 590. If I'm unhappy for a minute, I'll lose 60 seconds of happiness, so why would I be so stupid? People live for themselves. Let me put it this way, I'm not a likable person at all. When I was in school, almost no one liked me. Some people were jealous of my talent because I didn't need to study, read, or revise, and still easily beat them in exams. Some people thought I was too arrogant and pretentious, so they didn't like me. Over the years, some people admired me, and some people hated me. But it doesn't matter, I'm not RMB, so I can't be liked by the whole country. No matter what others say, I'm still me. Huamin actually realized all of this after her mother forgave Chin Chu. After removing that burden from her, she suddenly felt that the whole world was bright and beautiful. There was no problem that could make her frown and worry. You're really different. After I came to Southside for treatment, Director Lee kept recommending you. My agent didn't agree to let you be my assistant doctor at first because you weren't a professional doctor, because she was afraid something would go wrong. But now I understand that director Lee must have her reasons for liking you. You're really different. Are you praising me or complimenting me? Huamin chuckled. I'm complimenting you. You're a little older than me, so I'll call you Big Sister Huamin from now on, Ni Yang said faintly. To be honest, Huamin was quite shocked when she heard this. Patients with depression were very defensive. They wouldn't take the initiative to make friends, let alone open their hearts. Ni Yang called Huamin Big Sister, so it was obvious that he had let down his guard around her. If you're willing, of course, that's great. I have a younger brother who's younger than you. He's very sensible, and I think you're quite close to him. You're so young, and I really don't want you to be troubled by depression. Don't worry, if you're willing to trust me, I'll do my best to cure your illness. You can't call me sister for nothing. Huamin smiled and raised the bottle. Ni Yang gave a rare smile, revealing his canine teeth. It was very cute. Huamin suddenly realized that Ni Yang was actually a very sunny boy. He looked so good when he smiled. If only I didn't have depression, then I'll thank Sister Huamin first. Ni Yang raised the bottle and took another big gulp. According to common sense, children who never drank alcohol should get drunk as soon as they drank, but. Ni Yang and Huamin both drank 2 bottles of wine each, but he still didn't look drunk at all. So, Huamin quietly took out 2 more bottles and continued to drink as they chatted and laughed. Luckily, she came prepared and took out 10 bottles, speaking of which, her heart ached. These bottles of wine must have been very expensive. After all, they were Mr. Chen's treasured collection. If one day he realized that he didn't have enough wine, would he get angry? Ha. After the 2 of them drank 8 bottles of wine, Ni Yang began to feel tipsy, and his mood changed slightly. He looked out the window, and his expression became melancholic. Seizing the opportunity, Huamin quietly asked, Ni Yang, when you were hypnotized, you always became emotional when you saw that person. Then, you wouldn't tell me. Can you tell me who he is now? Chapter 591. It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. I just think that if you talk about it, it'll help you get better, Huamin added. After about 10 seconds of silence, Ni Yang turned around, looked into Huamin's eyes, and slowly said, when I was 10 years old, she left me and ran away with another man to pursue her so-called happiness. She left me with my alcoholic father, and because she left, he took his anger out on me and beat me up every day when he was drunk. One day, he chased after me and I ran away, but a car suddenly came by and hit him. Then, he died. I thought it was karma. My grandparents lived in the countryside, and they weren't in good health. They were old and had no source of income, so they begged my aunt to take me in. I lived under her roof for 3 years, and when I was 14, I dropped out of school and went out to make friends with some hooligans. Then, I lived in internet cafes and game arcades for about a year until Sister Ingzi appeared. She was a top manager and had a good eye for talent. She knew that I had potential, so she took me out of that industry, changed my name, did some minor surgery, and went to Korea for closed-door training. I stayed in Korea for 3 years before I came back. Then, I debuted at the age of 18, and until today. If Sister Ingzi didn't save me, I'm guessing that I would still be in prison or a hooligan. Your mother, how could she be so cruel? Huamin was a little moved. She was never my mother, she didn't deserve it. I remember that after she left, she asked someone to buy me a new set of clothes. She even left a note saying that she hoped I wouldn't hate her and that everything she did was for my little brother. Haha, what a joke. She sacrificed me for the sake of a child with someone else. She did it for my little brother, but what if no one cares about my big brother? Is she still in contact with you? Huamin pitied Ni Yang when he heard about his miserable life. He truly felt that this man didn't have it easy. He went from being a hooligan to a dazzling superstar. This was simply the path of a counterattack. That man cheated on her and abandoned her. She worked several part-time jobs to support that wastrel. She came to me several times and asked me for money, but I didn't give her any. Later, she even threatened to expose my true identity to the media and expose my dark history of being a gangster when I was young. She even said that she would sue me for abandoning her. Ni Yang smiled bitterly. You must be a gift from her when she recharges her phone, Huimin said quietly. I also suspected that I wasn't her biological child. I even did a paternity test, but the results were laughable. I'm actually. Haha. Then she's too much. A mother who wants to expose her own son must be drunk. Huimin sighed. Do you know what I told her back then? Ni Yang raised his head and asked in return. You gave her money. You blocked her mouth. Huimin guessed. I didn't give her a single cent. I told her to go ahead and expose me. If I lose everything I have now, I promise to use my money to find someone to kill her wastrel son. She was scared when she heard that. She thought I would really do it and scolded me for being inhumane. But until now, she hasn't exposed anything about me. So, my threat was very effective. If she really did expose you, would you do that? Huimin asked nervously. Sister Huimin, what do you think? Ni Yang asked with a smile. Chapter 592. I don't think you'll actually do that, Huimin replied seriously. Why not? Because. I can see the kindness in your bones. You're just saying that. Ha! I didn't think that you would understand a side of me that even my own mother doesn't know. I was just trying to scare her. I never thought of doing that. Even if she exposed me, it would only ruin my image. I have enough money now, and I can go anywhere I want with it. I just haven't repaid Sister Ings's kindness. I promised her that I would be an idol for 10 years, Ni Yang said faintly. Has she always been the cause of your stress? Huimin asked, her heart aching. Yes. Then I think you can let it go, because she got what she deserved for abandoning you all those years ago. As for you, you've achieved great things. It's all in the past, what are you still thinking about? I can't accept it, Huimin sis. I can't accept that dark past. Even now, when I think about it, it still hurts me so much that I want to die. To be honest, I didn't want to be a celebrity, I just wanted to be an ordinary person. If she hadn't abandoned me all those years ago, I might have been able to go through high school and university like other kids. Maybe I would have just graduated from university, have a stable job, and have a girl I like. But now, I have nothing. Do you understand? I don't even want to live anymore. I don't know what else I want in this world. Ni Yang hugged his head in pain, and it seemed like he was starting to get emotional. Huimin immediately reached out to touch his hand and comforted him. Ni Yang, if you believe me, then listen to me. God has his own plans for you to be alive. Just because you don't have it now doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. They're just on the way here. My past was more painful than you think, but I got through it. I once posted on my WeChat friend circle that God once closed a door on me, and then I said to God, please close the window for me, because I'm going to turn on the air conditioner. Ni Yang was amused by what he heard. Sister Huimin, you are so domineering. Of course, if you can't control life, life will control you. At that time, you'll be like a trash can, accepting all kinds of negative emotions. In the end, after a long time, the trash will rot in your stomach and mold, and you'll be ruined. You're right. I feel like I'm going to grow fur now. That's why you have to open your heart and clear your mind. I want to, but I don't know what to do. I can't even sleep well now. Ni Yang lowered his eyelashes and said faintly, I've developed a sleeping plan for you. Here, go back and try it out. First, adjust your sleep, and then I'll customize other treatment plans for you. As he spoke, Huimin pulled out a form from his pocket and handed it over. Ni Yang took it and looked at it. He seemed to be in a good mood because the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Sister Huimin, why does this plan include watching anime? You want me to watch 2 episodes of Naruto every day? Isn't that too childish? Ni Yang looked at Huimin, amused. Japanese anime is very good. It's not like anime, so it's not childish. The main character has a lot of positive energy. Go back and watch it first. I promise you'll fall in love with it. Then, we'll have time to discuss the plot. Okay, I'll listen to you. Then, Young carefully put the plan into his pocket. The two chatted well and added each other on WeChat. Min suddenly thought, if those fans knew that she had Young's WeChat, they would be so envious. They would explode with envy. There are still 2 bottles left. Why don't we both drink them? Young glanced at the remaining 2 bottles of red wine. If you like, I'll drink with you. Min was actually a little dizzy. If they drank more, they would probably drink more. It was rare for Young to be in a good mood, so she didn't want to be a wet blanket. After finishing the last 2 bottles, Sister Ingzi opened the door and saw the 2 drunkards walking in an S shape. Oh my god, you actually let Young drink. You're crazy, I'm going to file a complaint against you. Min's agent pointed at her and yelled. Chapter 593. You're welcome to complain, this is the number of our director. After speaking, Min took out President Wu's business card from the pocket of her lab coat and stuffed it into her agent's hand. Then, she walked away. This woman really wants to go to the heavens. The agent had been in the industry for many years and had seen all kinds of women, but she had never seen a woman like her who was so strange and arrogant. However, Young seemed to like her a lot. Sister Ingzi, I wanted to drink. Min is a very nice person, please don't complain. Before Young could finish speaking, she immediately rushed to the bathroom and vomited. Sister Ingzi was so angry that her face turned pale. Min drank a little too much and felt like she was floating when she walked. Drinking during work hours was really bad. Although it was for work and to treat Young's illness, it didn't affect her at all. However, the effect wasn't too good. She walked toward Deputy Director Guo's office in a daze. She planned to ask for leave from Deputy Director Guo so that she could go home and sleep for a while to sober up. However, when she reached the door, she found that it was unlocked. Just as she was about to knock, she heard someone inside. Director Chi, don't be like this. Promise me that you won't be mistreated. My brother-in-law is the deputy director. Let me tell you, whether you can be promoted or not is up to me. My brother-in-law isn't here today, so I can sign on his behalf. Do you understand? Deputy Director Guo's brother-in-law said arrogantly. Director Chi, I have a boyfriend. Don't be like this. If worse comes to worst, I won't be promoted. When Min heard this, she knew that the 2 people inside were up to no good. She should just leave. However, just as she was about to leave, she heard a scream from inside, help. There was only one scream, and then there was silence. Min reflexively rushed in and saw an extremely disgusting scene. Department head Chi pressed a young nurse under his body. He covered the nurse's mouth with one hand and grabbed the nurse's skirt with the other. Let her go, Min said coldly. Fuck, raping a little girl in broad daylight, that was fucking disgusting. Min had never seen such a disgusting man. It was broad daylight, and they were in the hospital, in the office of the deputy director. Minister Chi turned around and saw that it was Min. He immediately said fiercely, I'm telling you, don't meddle in other people's business. That's not meddling in other people's business. You're committing a crime, you know? She's lucky that I'm interested in her. The nurse's eyes were red and swollen from crying under the man's body. When she saw Min, it was as if she had seen her savior. Save me. Shut the fuck up. Let's see how I'll play you to death later. Department head Chi grabbed the nurse's hair and slammed her against the desk. This was not a light blow. Minister Chi's eyes were bloodshot, and he reeked of alcohol. It seemed that he had drunk a lot of alcohol, otherwise, he wouldn't have lost control like this. The problem was that Min had also just drunk alcohol, so, when Min saw him grabbing the nurse's hair and slamming her against the desk, her eyes were about to spit fire. She walked over in a few steps and slapped Department head Chi's bald head and face. Department head Chi didn't think that Min would be so crazy. He only cared about covering his face with both hands and forgot to resist. When he realized what was going on and reached out to hit Min reacted quickly and pressed his head against the desk. Then, she picked up the expensive crystal ashtray that was on Deputy Director Guo's desk. With a loud bang, she slammed the ashtray onto Department Head Chi's head. His head immediately started bleeding. The nurse was so scared that her whole body trembled. Department Head Chi's scream attracted a lot of attention. "Quick, call the police. Huamin hit me," Department Head Chi complained. 20 minutes later, Qin Chu had just walked out of his afternoon meeting when he received a call from Gao Ran. He had a feeling that nothing good would come out of this kid's phone call at work. "As expected, your wife is at the police station. Hurry up and bail her out," Gao Ran said with a headache. He couldn't even remember how many times Huamin had been sent to the police station. When he heard that Huamin was at the police station, Qin Chu's face instantly darkened. Chapter 594. 15 minutes later, the Maybach was parked in front of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. The truth was, he didn't have to come personally because Gao Ran could have just let her go. However, Gao Ran knew that Qin Chu treasured Huamin a lot, so he would definitely come personally to pick her up. The problem was, the situation was very complicated. Huamin hit someone, and someone was going to sue her. On the way, Gao Ran had already sent Qin Chu a WeChat message about what happened. Qin Chu's face darkened as he called Wu Zhongxing. President Wu immediately asked Deputy Director Guo to take care of the situation. When Qin Chu arrived, Deputy Director Guo was there as well. Huamin was sitting there drinking coffee, and with her was the nurse who was almost raped by Department Chief Chi. "Head nurse. I'm a little scared." The nurse was new. She was an intern in the neurosurgery department, so she wasn't under Huamin. However, she knew Huamin. After all, Huamin was the president of the Hua Foundation, and was an important person at Southside. "Don't be scared, it'll be fine. I'll resign as soon as I get back. Department Chief Chi will definitely take revenge on me. I'm just sorry for dragging you into this. But if you don't save me, I'll probably lose my virginity," the nurse said with red eyes as she grabbed onto Huamin's hand. "Even if I don't know you, I'll still save you. Plus, you're my colleague. Don't think too much about it, and you don't have to resign. This time, I swear, I'll kick that scumbag out of here." Huamian felt that even though she was only a head nurse, if she reported what had happened to Director Wu, he would be in a better position. Even if that person was Deputy Director Guo's brother-in-law, he would still have to resign. This kind of black sheep, this kind of scumbag who didn't respect women, deserved to be cut into pieces. Yet another attempted rape victim. Huamin's heart was still burning with anger. However, when she suddenly saw a familiar figure, she immediately calmed down. She then muttered, "Damn you, Gao Ran, didn't I tell you not to call Mr. Qin?" She didn't expect that despite her repeated warnings, Gao Ran would still betray her without any integrity. When Qin Chu walked in, Gao Ran pointed in his direction. Qin Chu walked over. Gao Ran sent him a WeChat message saying that Huamin had injured someone after drinking, and the other party wanted to sue her. Drunken assault. His wife. How dare he drink in the hospital in broad daylight? Not only did he drink, he even got drunk. Not only did he get drunk, he even caused trouble. Did he hurt someone? Qin Chu's feelings were indescribable. He was not angry because Huamin had caused trouble, but because Huamin had mindlessly rushed forward to save him. What would he do if Minister Qi accidentally hurt Huamin? Even if Huamin lost a single strand of hair, his heart would ache. Luckily, she hurt someone else. When Huamin saw Qin Chu, he was so scared that he guiltily hid behind the young nurse. The young nurse didn't know what to do. "Head nurse." Qin Chu walked over and looked at Huamin behind the young nurse. He only said 2 words, "Come out." "Honey." Huamin obediently came out from behind the young nurse. He lowered his head, like a child who had done something wrong. Before Qin Chu could say anything, his phone rang. "Qin Chu, what I'm saying is, just fire the 2 of them, and we'll call it a day. Is that okay?" President Wu was going all out. He even wanted to fire Deputy Director Guo, who had worked for him for many years, just to give Qin Chu an explanation. However, Qin Chu didn't appreciate it at all. "No, that's not what I want." "Then what do you want to do?" President Wu asked anxiously. You don't have to worry about that. Fire them first, I have a plan. After speaking, Chin Chu hung up the phone. Then, he stared at Huamin with a serious expression on his face. Honey, I caused trouble again. I'm so sorry, I made you worry. Huamin took the initiative to admit his mistake and decided to use a good attitude in exchange for leniency. Chapter 595. Come back with me first. With that, Chin Chu grabbed Huamin's hand and led her away as if no one else was around. Hey, why did she leave? I still want to sue her. What's wrong with the police? Director Chi came to the police station with a bandage on his head after getting it bandaged at the hospital. He looked at Huamin, afraid that she would run away. The truth was, he had been unhappy with Huamin for a long time. Ever since Huamin forbade him from using the Hua Foundation's money, he wanted to pick a fight. If it weren't for his brother-in-law, Deputy Director Guo, who kept warning him not to do it, he would have taught Huamin a lesson a long time ago. Today, she had ruined his plan, so Director Chi decided to complain first and teach Huamin a lesson. She had someone to bail her out, so of course we had to let her go. Someone to bail her out. So what if you bailed her out? Director Chi said with disdain. There's nothing special about bailing her out. All I know is that you're done for. You better pray for yourself. Gao Ran looked at this person with pity. Of all the people he could have messed with, he had to mess with Chin Chu's beloved wife. He was speechless. To be honest, he had wronged Director Chi this time. Director Chi really wasn't the one who started this. It was Huamin who took the initiative to teach him a lesson. After all, Huamin was the one who stood up for him. I'll pray for myself. Haha, do you know who I am? My brother-in-law is Deputy Director Guo of Southside. Then do you know who's behind Huamin? Gao Ran asked, amused. Of course I know. Isn't it the Hua family? Isn't she just a bastard from the Hua family? What's there to be proud of? She hasn't been acknowledged by the Hua family for so many years. Recently, Hua Xiqian made her the president of some stupid foundation. She doesn't know her place anymore. Huamin, that little bitch, I'll teach her a lesson sooner or later. Director Chi was still boasting shamelessly. Be careful with what you say. Be careful of what you say. Trouble comes from the mouth. I'm not afraid. I have my brother-in-law. What's there to be afraid of? The Hua family won't protect her. Minister Chi didn't seem to care about Huamin's identity at all. I can tell you very responsibly that you're dead meat. Then, Gao Ran smashed the documents in his hand on Minister Chi's head and said rudely, didn't you want to sue? Fill in the form, ouch. Officer, be gentler. It hurts. Chin Chu dragged Huamin to GK headquarters instead of going home. Along the way, Chin Chu drove without saying a word. It was obvious that he was in a bad mood. Honey, do you want some water? Huamin picked up the bottle of Evian mineral water and handed it over. No. Hubby, are you hungry? Let's go eat something. I'm not eating. Honey, are you tired? Do you want me to drive for a while? Huamin volunteered. Chin Chu's expression finally changed a little. He turned his head and stared at Huamin's face. You want to drive? Yes. Huamin nodded vigorously. Are you sober yet? Aren't you afraid of drunk driving? Huamin was speechless. Chin Chu's words made Huamin completely speechless. Gao Ran really did tell him everything. GK headquarters. Chin Chu pulled Huamin's hand into his office and sat her down on the sofa. He pulled a chair over and sat across from her. It was the standard way of interrogating a criminal. Mode officially began. Tell me, how much did you drink? Chin Chu asked coldly. 2 bottles. Huamin stuck out 2 fingers. Tell me the truth. Chin Chu obviously didn't believe him. Haha, I actually drank 3 bottles. Huamin stuck out another finger. But from what I know, 10 bottles of red wine went missing from my wine cellar. Uncle Li said you came back to the castle. Huamin immediately felt guilty. It seemed like the butler was also an old man who liked to snitch. What a scam. Chapter 596. Ahem. I did take 10 bottles, but I didn't drink that much, Huamin immediately explained. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Tell me, are you hurt? No. Really? Qin Chu obviously didn't believe her. Really, I smashed that bastard's head with an ashtray. I'm fine, Huamin said confidently. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Instead, he grabbed Huamin's right hand and asked, where did this wound come from? It turned out that when the ashtray shattered on top of that bastard's head, the glass shards pierced through Huamin's palm. It was just a small wound, and she didn't even notice it. She really didn't know how Qin Chu found out. She remembered that she was very careful and clenched her fists. Honey, it's just a small wound, haha. Huamin lowered her head guiltily and stole a glance at Qin Chu. Then, she noticed that Qin Chu's face was slowly turning cold. Then, Miss Huamin, please tell me, what is considered a big wound? Is it losing your head? Qin Chu asked coldly. Huamin shook her head and didn't dare to say anything else. The more she said, the more mistakes she would make. Qin Chu's method of extorting confessions was terrifying. When Mr. Qin flipped out, it was really scary. She instantly felt the room turn cold and the temperature drop by a few degrees. His aura was like 1,000-year-old ice. Honey, if there's nothing else, I'm going to go back to work, haha. Huamin thought that she should leave first. She wanted to wait until Mr. Qin calmed down before communicating. You're not allowed to leave. Sit here. After speaking, Qin Chu got up and walked to his desk. He seemed to be busy with work. Assistant Yang came in with a cup of coffee and flattered, a young lady, here's your coffee. Thank you. Huamin was about to take it. Qin Chu said coldly, don't give her coffee. Honey, I'm thirsty, Huamin said pitifully. Bring her 2 bottles of red wine. Qin Chu ordered. Boss, this isn't a good idea. Little Yang was also confused. Was it really okay to give a young lady red wine to quench her thirst? Although red wine was expensive and the boss was not short of money, wasn't it too extravagant to drink wine like water? And would it really quench his thirst? This doesn't make sense, right? Was his boss a little too playful? Or did he want to get a young lady drunk and have sex with her in the office? Upon hearing the word red wine, Huamin immediately began retching. He still felt dizzy after drinking with Yang. If he continued to drink, he would be crippled. Aren't you good at drinking? Drink up, I'll let you drink to your heart's content this time, Qin Chu said word by word. Honey, I know I was wrong. Huamin looked like he was about to cry. What were you wrong about? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and asked. Everything. I shouldn't have drunk, I shouldn't have hit you, I shouldn't have caused trouble. Anyways, I shouldn't have gone to the police station, I shouldn't have made you worry, and I shouldn't have gotten hurt. Huamin admitted his mistakes with a good attitude. Assistant Yang saw that there was a conflict between the couple, so he immediately hid outside the door. He was afraid that it would affect him. After all, the boss was very scary when he was angry. Plus, the couple was playing tricks. It was very difficult for a little follower like him to understand. Your thoughts are so clear and your words are so logical. It seems like you're not drunk either. I think you can drink 2 more bottles, Qin Chu said slowly. PFFFT. Huamin wanted to vomit blood when he heard Qin Chu's words. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.